has been a stock that I've been very, very bullish on for a while. So maybe it'll be a good buying opportunity here.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't mind grabbing some if it settles down here. I think communications in general are starting to heat up a little bit. I mean, pretty optimistic on Google as well. Hey,
Uh,
Len. Hey,
I like Google a lot. There's a lot of names I like a lot. There's a lot of names too that I was actually, it's funny, guys. I was just on the phone with Nate. I just told him, I've been telling everyone these stocks are great. Why didn't I put more in them?
yeah. For me, it's hard to not want to not like all of the Mag 7 for the most part
Yeah.
because I don't want to get too concentrated into, oh, Microsoft's beating down has so much potential, Apple's beating down has so much potential, Nvidia's beating down, and then I find myself, man, these are all Mag stocks that I'm liking right now. So I think a little bit of diversity is important. I think we both shared my two favorite Meta and Apple right now, and then I throw in Tesla just kind of from a risk reward standpoint with a ton of upside.
Yep. All right, cool. I just pulled up my screen share here and I'm going to give a few minutes for people to join. But today we're going to do something special, something fun, a little off the cuff. So normally I like to prepare these whole big long slide decks for you guys where it's all organized and ready to roll. Today we're going to dive in the markets in real time. I want you guys to give us some stocks that you really love and really, I don't want you to throw out random penny stock names, right? We want to find the good, strong stocks that we really think have a good chance of rising over the next year from here. And then we're going to build our 2025 dream portfolio. And the way this is going to work, this is going to be easier if I just share my full screen. One second. I normally don't do this, but let me just share my full screen.
And by the way, while he's doing that, guys, think about stocks that you would like to own or you think have good upside, and maybe consider stocks that would be expensive for you to hold, but you'd still like to own if they weren't expensive, because we're going to kind of hack our way into owning stocks much cheaper too.
Yep. And here's the way it's going to work. Let me blow. Oh, that's a little big. We're going to do this in real time. We're going to give you guys our safe plays. Keep in mind, we can't guarantee any future returns. You know this, but the ones that we consider the safest, the more moderate plays, and the more aggressive plays, we're going to give you guys the tickers. You're going to help us find some of these tickers. We're going to select the options together, going to put some notes in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then send this sheet to you guys so you can make a copy of the sheet and you can take all the trades if you want. You don't have to. You can come in here and say, okay, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one, and this one, and then build your own dream portfolio for the rest of the year. So hopefully that made sense. That makes sense, everyone?
Dave already threw out a great one to throw in there. BRK, great idea. That's a
Yep.
nice safe or moderate one.
Let me put this up here. Let
Yeah,
me
I'd
put
probably, I'd probably throw that in the safe
Costco.
category.
We put Costco up there safe.
Well, the thing is, I had Walmart, and so I was trying to figure out, do I like Walmart or Cost better right now?
I'm just gonna put some names over here that people are posting in the chat so we can make sure to take a look.
Ooh, AbbVie, that's another one I like. That almost made my list. Home Depot, nice.
Oh, you guys are too fast.
I love it though. We got Cost, we got Palantir, good old Coca-Cola made the list. Oh,
Oh,
AutoZone, great
take that
idea on
already.
AutoZone.
John Deere. Oh my gosh. Oh, I got Progressive on there already. You know I can't go a whole day without talking about
Oh, CrowdStrike. James, we talked about CrowdStrike. What else do we have on there? Raytheon.
All right, we'll start with these. Start with these. VeriSign looking good too. I'll add that. I actually like that stock. ANET.
Mike,
Um,
Mike likes ServiceNow.
I love ServiceNow. I love ANET's. I told you guys in Telegram yesterday. I think ANET might have been the worst trade of my life. I put a lot of money in the stock, and you guys know what happened over the last few years. I think I lost $80,000 on ANET, which is the biggest loss of my life. So I got punched right in the face on that stock. But I will say, I think right now it looks really, really good, especially when we see what some of these other takers like ServiceNow has done, even Google, how Google performed on earnings. So that's just me. It's hard. I feel like Anet's the girl that dumped me right now, and I'm trying to get. I'm married, by the way. So Lily
Well,
is a good one. Oklo, Barbara, I really like Oklo. But that would fall into the max aggressive category, which let's make max.
I like JPM. We don't really have any financial. Well, we threw a couple in there, but not a lot of financial right now. We also don't have hardly any energy in here right now, um,
I have Oklo.
other than Oklo, which I mean, you could throw like OKE in there, which is one of the ones I really like. Obviously, you've got the Exxons and the Chevrons of the world.
Yeah.
CCJ, high risk, but I think has tons of upside.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started because we've got a lot to cover. Oh gosh, and not a ton of time, but we'll make enough time for today. Real quick, again, big day today. We're going to do this build your own dream portfolio. We're going to send you a copy of the sheet. It will be view only. It will be view only. So when I send you a copy, you just come up here, file, make a copy, and then you will have your own copy that you can edit, add stocks in, or just take them out and build your own portfolio. We're going to give you a big list to select from. It's going to be a big menu and it'll be a la carte. You pick what you want. All right. So that's a big day today. This is only shared with the opening playbook attendees. Hope you guys love the show. Hope you love that we're doing it every day now. And I hope to see you every day going forward, 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, a couple other things to note. Number one, let's give Nate a little shout out on his MicroStrategy box trade so far. We drew this up. Was it earlier this week or last week? We do so many of these, I can't remember.
I know I can keep track of the trades.
Drew up the box. It's already out of the box. That's looking good. Our Microsoft Apex signals looking good. Also, again, it's a news-driven market, right? So much is variance right here in the short term based on the news. But I came across this data today, uh, posted on LinkedIn actually, that for a longer term perspective, we just had a great buy signal yesterday. So the S&P 500 up at least 1.5% for 3 days in a row. 10 times out of 10 over the next year, stock market's up 21% on average. Again, we're in a news driven market right now. This will still be news driven for the short term, but for a long term or 1 year, it's not even that long, but a medium time frame of 1 year, it's typically a very, very good time to build your dream portfolio, which we are going to do today. So,
Did
this,
anyone already hit the target on the MSCR? I think someone mentioned yesterday. Mine didn't quite fill yet, but it's looking good. I think a couple people mentioned they did this. So maybe they just got their orders in before me because it's first come first serve on the closing orders if you're at the same price. Um, And by the way, as Graham's getting set up here, if I could just ask a very selfish question for Graham and I, to get some feedback, because I'm curious. We do a ton of trades here. I mean, like it ends up being a lot of trades. And I'm just curious, how many of you would say that you've made money by coming into Opening Playbook? Because I mean, Graham and I obviously have a lot of time and effort into this. We miss a lot of trades that we would like to make in our own accounts, exits, and all that kind of stuff because we're live in the morning. So I'm hopeful that it's extremely valuable for you guys because I think, like for us, it's a pretty big commitment. And just curious how many people would say, like, yeah, it's not just nice to hear a couple tidbits, but I've actually made money coming in and showing up on a daily basis. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, that's the goal. The goal is not just to be talking heads and say interesting things about the stock market, but to actually be actionable and put some money in your wallet. No guarantees. Obviously, we have losing trades, we have winning trades, and everything in between. But at the end of the day, that's the goal.
awesome. There's too many. I can't even read it. It's like the chat's going crazy. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
cool. Well, for those of you that I did see, RJ, Deborah, Jason, Robert, M, Doug, James, thank you guys. Steve, Jim. All right, cool. Um, so what we're going to do here, we'll rip through these and we'll look for opportunities. Now, the kind of the core behind this it was funny because on the Tesla roundtable, everyone was talking about how would you trade Tesla for earnings. And Graham and I both took a very similar approach, having not compared notes ahead of time, and actually went with like a spread a year or 18 months out with the idea of forget about trying to call earnings and make 100%. What if you just looked at what can Tesla do a year from now and position to trade that way? And so the more we've talked about, the more we've thought there's probably an entire portfolio that you can build around this idea of do you believe a stock, could be up a year from now, especially because they are most of them beaten down. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of rip through these. We'll look for some options that set us up with a good risk reward. That sheet's going to tell you what the conditions are, to make money. And so we'll have kind of some safe ones that might be, 15, 20, 25, 30% ROI. We'll have some moderate ones that might be 80 to 120% ROI, and some aggressive ones that might be 200 plus percent ROI over the next year. And then we'll kind of stagger some different timelines here. So some we might give, a year, some we might give 15 months, some we might give 18 months. We'll have to move kind of quickly here, guys, but that's what the sheet's for. So that you don't have to worry about getting left behind. Obviously, you can watch the recording as well, but you'll literally have this sheet that you can look at in real time right now. Graham just posted the link in there. And so you'll see us filling this out. So, yes, we'll have to move a little bit quickly to get through 20 stocks, but you'll have the sheet there to reference. Yeah, I guess we can get that. We can get rolling.
Let's go ahead and dive in. Nate, you put the S&P on here, obviously.
Yep. So I did this as a safe one, basically saying, what if I go a year out here or even go 18 months out? So even go Christmas present, December 2026, and say, what if the S&P does anything better than negative 10% over the next year? And I think you can get into that trade. That would be like the 490, 495.
December of next year.
Yep, for December of next year. By the way, overnight option trade just got filled. Heyo. Anyone got the overnight option win? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. The 490, 495, you can get filled. It's going to be a really fat wide spread, obviously, guys, but you can get filled should be for 350 to $4, which leaves over 25% left on the bone there for the SPY. And so I don't know about you, but for me, the SPY's already down. And so if I can make a trade that says anything better than negative 10% over the next 18 months, which gives it over a year to recover, I will happily take a 25% ROI. And so that's the trade. December 2026, I think is it the 18th on those?
Yeah.
December 18th, 2026. You can make 25%. Let
20.
me let me grab it in. Sorry, I had my other doc open and I closed it. So let me open that back up real quick and I'll pop it in there.
So buy 490 call. Let's buy 490 sell 495 call.
Oh, there you go.
Let me just do this real quick. Where'd my calculator go? A handy dandy calculator.
And I'm putting a pretty safe fill in here.
There you go.
Oh, it's you did it that way. All right.
2%. SPY doesn't drop 10% plus, right?
Yep.
That's a pretty awesome trade there, Nate. I know it's a little bit longer, right?
This is, a way to say, do you think the SPY is going to go up 25% between now and December? Maybe. I mean, there's not a horrible likelihood, but what if it just doesn't go down 10% and you still make the same 25% on a trade? Like it just seems almost too good to be true relative to buying the actual shares. Of course, you can lose the full value of the spread, which is the downside that you have versus buying shares.
Let me just show this visually. I think 500 bars to the right. So here we are. As long as the S&P by this crosshair isn't below my by December, so I'm a little. So we have all this time. Is if the S&P is just above there, you make 42% on your money.
Yeah, and of course, what I love about spreads, and I think one of the things that you like about these trades too, imagine some horrible news comes out and the SPY drops 15% next month. Well, it still has 18 months to get back up and just climb 7%, which, we know after flushes, the market almost always does that. So I don't know. I put the odds of this trade finishing above there in the very high percentage, 90 plus percent. If I was kind of grading it, and I think, to get 25% ROI on a 90 plus percent probability, I'll take that every single opportunity.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep on moving here. It's a pretty great trade. I mean, like I showed you guys, the data said where we are now. This is just data. 100% of the time, S&P goes up about 20%. So this is a cool way to get about twice the S&P return right there.
Yep.
And it even gives you a nice little buffer zone. Now I'm going to go throw Apple on the board here real quick. I'm putting this as a moderate trade because it still could, pitter patter around. Could not. I think this is a very strong stock. Lots of cash. I'm going to make this a Christmas bonus for this year for us. Let me just check these options prices real quick. So again, this is on the fly. Market's just opened. Let's see what happens here. Basically, what I'm going to say is by Christmas time. So let me just hide the apex real quick. By Christmas time, Apple will be higher where it is now. Let's see. Let me just see what this can do. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 19th of December expiration of 2025, and I'm going to buy the 200 call and sell the 205 call. Now let's talk through this. Right now, this is at a 298 debit. I'm going to call it a $3 entry just to round it off nicely. Max profit's $5. What you're seeing here is we're going to get a 67% payout by Christmas as long as Apple doesn't fall from here. It can fall. It can fall for the next 6 months, but as long as it by Christmas, it's above where it's at now, you're going to earn 67% on your money. What's better, buying calls or selling puts? Good question. You could sell the puts. You would just come over here and just do the put side. About the same credit right now. But I'm going to do this. So basically, what this is saying is make 67% if Apple finishes up. Right? It's just more than 0% plus by Christmas. I'm abbreviating it. I would normally type it out, but
Love that one. I mean, I shared before Apple's my favorite of the Mag 7 right now. It's the one I'd bet on. So obviously, I'm a fan of that one. I just threw an IBIT there for you below. If you want to jump to that one next, you can go right to the March. This one on IBIT is basically IBIT has to go up 1.5% over the next year. I am bullish on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin has successfully made a transition into a very kind of institutional store of value asset while still having upside. And this one, I think the numbers are really nice on it. So you can get into that spread. I made it a $5 spread just to give you a little more bang for your buck per contract. But you could do it as a tighter spread. But I did the $5, and you make 129% on IBIT if it goes up 1% in the next year. So that's out to next March. I guess it's 11 months, not a year. But I really love that one. I'm pretty much all in on IBIT. And so I thought this one was a no brainer. March 20, buy the 50, sell the 55, get in for about 218. That leaves 129% ROI left on the bone for IBIT.
that is a really outstanding trade there, in my opinion. That's really, that's amazing. If IBIT gains 1.5%, so if Bitcoin goes up 1.5% or more over the next year, holy cow. Now, guys, keep in mind, I know a lot of you guys are probably trying to punch these trades in right now. You can do that. I'm going to say don't worry about that right now. Let's build the sheet out and then pick what you want. I know we're moving fast. I don't want you guys to get worried or overheated trying to punch in trades as fast as possible. We'll build this out. But Nate, that's an amazing trade idea right there.
Yep, I love that one. I'll do GLD next if you want to jump to Tesla or one of the other ones,
I'm
and
going to
then
do
I'll
Meta,
okay, you do Meta. I'll plug in GLD while you're doing that. And guys, like Graham said, we're moving fast here, but the sheet's there for you. So
and I will post the sheet a few more times here in the chat. Now, Meta's been a great stock for us. I wish I could go back further. Let's see. I think it's really doing a good job with this AI race. They're investing a lot. I think they're going to come out on top. When I say on top, I don't mean like the biggest company in the world, but I do mean that they have a lot smaller market cap than a stock like Microsoft or Apple or Nvidia. And I think they have a lot of room for growth. And we've already seen that growth potential earlier this year. Now, much like many stocks right now, this thing is trading at a massive discount. It's in the $500 range. It was in the 750 range. So you could buy the stock. By the way, I do own the stock. I own a good portion of the shares here. And if it goes back to all-time highs, let me just tell you that number here, 750 divided by 550, it's about a 36% return on investment on the shares. I'm going to take a more aggressive play here, again, paying out by Christmas. That Meta will make about a third of that move back to all-time highs. So it doesn't even need to make that big of a move back to all-time highs. I'm going to trade the seven or the 600s here and see what they're working for. Let me just pull up the calculator. Why do I keep losing my calculator? All right, there we go. So right now it's at two. That's about the same one, 67% payout. I might go a little bit more aggressive. I think we can. 650 is definitely within reason. That's about halfway back to all-time highs by Christmas. I just have to widen this out. Again, this is a more aggressive play. You'll see that in the sheet listed aggressive, right? Ooh, not great. Oh, 288 on a $10 spread. Okay, this is going to be good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the 19th of December 2025 expiration. I'm going to buy the 640 call and sell the 650 call. Now I'm going to win if Meta goes up. I'm going to give the exact percentage, but really what we're looking for here is a just a halfway move to the all-time high. So if Meta goes up 18% by Christmas, halfway to all-time to highs. And then the entry price right now is at 283. Max profit $10. That's a 253% payout on Meta. Again, this is aggressive. This isn't something you go all in on. But if Meta over the next, what is that, 8 months, gets to here, see where my crosshairs are? Totally within reason, especially if you look back at previous drops, how fast it goes back. Like here you go. Look how fast it normally bounces back. Big drop normally gets back to halfway pretty quick. I'm giving it a lot of time for it to get back to halfway by Christmas. So let me put my crosshairs up here. I think it's easy to visualize. If you are bullish Meta, if you are bullish on what's going on, once these tariffs news starts to settle, this will pay 253% if Meta gets halfway back.
All
This
right,
is a
I'm gonna outdo you on the aggressive with my Tesla one that I just added. This
awesome.
is the same one I gave on Roundtable. That's already up about 30%. If anyone took it on Roundtable, but one of the cool things before we go through the numbers, Graham, if you just go to the option chain on Tesla, now I'm giving this one 18 months, so I'm giving this a very long distance because I'm bullish on Meta, but I think it's going to take some time for everything to develop, for them to get the robot orders and all that kind of stuff rolling. But if you go to Tesla on the option chain there, basically what we're betting is that Tesla can get all the way up to all-time highs in the next 18 months. Sorry, my microphone is being weird. Um, but Graham, if you go to just the uh the single call. Can you just take a look at the 490, just the call?
490 call, $3,800.
Yeah. So $3,800 to bet on the call side of Tesla going up. And if Tesla did go up and barely made all-time highs, that call wouldn't even really make you any money. So
Mhm.
that's the crazy thing. You could pay 3,800 bucks, and if it hit all time and it barely hit all time highs, you'd barely make any money. Now, if it hit $1,000 a share, then yes, you're going to make a ton of money. But what we can do is we can flip this around, pay $1.30. So instead of paying 4 grand, we pay 130 bucks, and we leave 670% ROI on the table. And so for me, this is super aggressive. Obviously not a 90% probability. I think most everyone in the roundtable said, hey, maybe it's a coin flip 50-50. That's probably about what I would put it at. And if I could trade a coin flip trade with 700% profit potential, obviously those are odds that I like. So for me, this is my most aggressive one of these trades, but I think Tesla is the best risk reward in the market right now. I'm not betting against Elon over the course of time. He said he's going to focus more on Tesla. I think he has, a lot of opportunity to kind of get revalued as a top tier Mag 7 tech stock. And so I don't even think Tesla has to achieve incredible earnings and upside over the next 18 months. I think they just have to have enough, excitement and interest and value proposition of those robots and everything else that Tesla's, the robo taxis, got going on. And Tesla would probably make all time highs. If you look at the chart of Tesla, it's at about eight different 50% pullbacks. It's made all
Wow,
time
that's great.
highs every single time.
Tesla's on fire today. Yeah, you are right about that. And this is what I brought up on the roundtable, Nate. If we take a longer term look at Tesla over since it's really made its leap up, right, after 2020, we're looking at a range bound Tesla here since 2020. It is on the cheaper end of the range right now, very much so. If you were to, let me draw these. I made my thicker one a little bit bigger, so hopefully this is just a rough drawing. But if you look at Tesla valuations, if I can get this, there we go. Right here would be kind of our midline of valuations. I don't know why this thing's being so fidgety. So here, if you look at the midline of Tesla valuations, this would be expensive, expensive, cheap, 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 and
Yeah.
everything you buy when it's cheap, like you said, it's gone right back up, at least to the midline, but yes, eventually to all-time highs.
Well, and I think people might look at that and say, yeah, but Tesla's in a new situation now. Elon, Doge, Trump, all this stuff. It's not the same as before. And I would say if you actually went back and looked in real time, Tesla's always been crazy news driven and always had that kind of chaos. Maybe not exactly the same version of it as now, but that's always how the stock has been moved. And I expect it to be the same way going forward.
Yeah, and just really a great buying opportunity. It is a speculative stock more so than Apple, right, or Walmart.
Sure.
But the upside, you don't have, well, I shouldn't say this, but generally speaking, you don't have 100% return on the stock upside in Walmart. Granted,
Right.
last year was
Except for 2023 and 2024, where it absolutely
yeah.
destroyed. But
And with Tesla, you always have those types of opportunities. So really cool here how you're able to play the options for not 100% return, almost 1,000%. I mean, that's a 660% return. That's like Tesla in the early days.
yeah. And if you got on a round table, you're already up about 30%. You got a nice little head start because it was about $1 then. So, and by the way, one more thing, you guys could play that midpoint if you want. So you could, if you don't want to go as aggressive as I'm going, play it up to 380 and you'll still have like a 300% opportunity there.
Awesome. All right, let me take a look at these Berkshire options. Oh, I made my screen a little too big. Try to make it. Someone asked if I could make them a little bit bigger. We'll go medium font size. All right, Berkshire. Again, these will have a little, just set a limit order. Don't rush in. Oh. Nate, how do we feel about Berkshire?
Let me see here.
I'm going to see if we can play this 200-day moving average. Let's see what that pays. BR, BRK, average annual return. Let me get you guys some specific numbers. So Berkshire Hathaway, average annual return is 13% on the stock. It's a very good, strong company. It's done really well. Warren Buffett, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. Uh, pretty legendary investor. I'm going to make a bet here on Berkshire, and it's going to be one of my safe plays that Berkshire just stays above where the 200-day moving average is right now. As you can see, let me just honestly, again, we're doing this on the fly in real time. Last time it went below the 200-day moving average was the bear market of 2022. We hit a bear market now, and it didn't go below. Other than that, it pretty much stays above the 200-day moving average. Again, I can go back to COVID here, which obviously was a flash crash and then was right back above. So I'm just going to make a bet that over the next year, Berkshire is going to stay above its 200-day moving average where it's currently at. Could go higher, it could fall, but basically this is just going to say Berkshire isn't going to be down a little over 10% from here over the next year. If I'm right, I will make 30% return on investment. Not the craziest return in the world, but remember, this stock averages 13%. So basically, what we're going to do is leverage options to just essentially triple that return, essentially without the downside risk. So if you buy Berkshire Hathaway and the stock does drop to 470 over the next year, you're going to be down. Mine is going to say if it does drop to 470 over the next year, we're still going to make 29%. It's a little bit cheaper right now, actually. So, oh, there it's moving now. But Oh no, it's cheaper, 768. So I'm just going to give it a round number though. So 30%, but I'm going to give it a round number 770. Yes, this is it's in the safe category. We can all see that, right? It's not exciting, but this is going to be one that I would put, personally, I would put a little bit more weight in being confident that Berkshire will not take a big 10. I don't even, is that what is 12% drop over the next year? That would be out of the ordinary for the stock.
Yep.
When if BRKB doesn't drop 12% plus, payout about 30%. Again, I think this stock's a great stock to buy and hold and not look out for 10 years.
Same.
On average, pays 13% a year. I'm going to give you a trade on it that pays 30%, even if it does fall, even if it does have one of those rare down years. Sorry. Good call. Someone corrected me here. Sell 470. Let me make sure I have this right. Buy 460, sell 470. Yes. Thank you very much in the chat. So again, safe play, but it's on the board. It's one that you can just put in I'm not going to give you guys any specific amounts, but if I were to swing trade something speculative, if I'm going to put something, let's say I'm going to take this Tesla position, I might put 500 bucks in it. For me personally, if I'm taking the Berkshire, I might put 2,500 in it. If
Right.
that to give you guys an idea of what I mean by safe versus aggressive and position sizing. Now, that's not financial advice. I can't recommend what you do for your portfolio, but that is about what I would do, roughly speaking, to give you an idea.
Yeah, and I think a couple people ask about kind of how they would blend it. I mean, it's obviously up to you at the end of the day. You got to make your own decision. But I'd say like for me, the blend would be something more significant in the safe, something, kind of like still fairly aggressive in the moderate. And the aggressive one is just going to be a small size kind of home run type of opportunity. And yes, there will be a replay. For those of you asking, if you're brand new, if you haven't traded spreads before, first of all, you got to learn spreads. Hopefully, this is just showing you what you can do with the spread that you can't do, like that Tesla example, 4 grand, and you don't even know if it has the potential to make money. So, first things first, got to learn spreads. It just gives you a whole new trade structure to approach the market. Um, and then these are all call debit spreads or vertical calls that we're putting on. You could do them in other ways. You could do them as credit spreads, but I think it's much easier to do them as a call debit spread. And so if you're in, Robinhood, you go to the vertical, then click call debit spread. Most of the brokers will have these pre-set up for you, and you just got to choose your strikes and your dates that we're giving you right here on the sheet.
I'm going to post this link to the sheet again. We've had some people join since we started. Do not make a copy until we are done. Again, we're going to build this out over the next 30 minutes or so. Keep building out, and then we got to pick up the pace. But then after that, I encourage you guys, go here, file, make a copy, and then you'll be able to keep the ones you want in here and then just delete the ones out that you don't want. How do you delete? You just come right here, right click it, delete row. So then you can keep the ones on the card that you like. All right, Nate,
All
keep
right,
it.
I
What do you
threw
got?
progressive in there, another Christmas present one there. A little more aggressive. You needed to go up 2% if you take this one. But if you look at progressive at the chart, it's one of the best stocks in the world at recovering after pullbacks. Usually the pullbacks are shallower and the follow through is strong. Progressive, I mean, even go back, look at it in 2008, look at it in COVID. It's one of the most resilient stocks in the entire stock market. So I don't think I need to give it as much time here to make a move. I'm giving it still plenty of time, 8 months. And if it goes up 2%, which is not even to the highs, if you go to the progressive chart, we're not even asking it to go to the highs, and we can grab 127% on progressive.
Where's it at? 275.
Yep, about the midpoint between this recent pullback. And like I said, just go look at any other pullback in progressive, and you will see how quickly we recover. Now, some people ask, how much time are we giving it, guys? That option criteria, the first part of that's going to tell you. Some of these are December 2026, like 18 months out. Some of them are December 2025. Some of them are March or June, 12, 15 months out. But that first piece of the option criteria is going to tell you exactly how far out. Uh,
Hey, we
and
did have a
then
question here. There aren't any December 2025s. Was it January, November?
what did I just do here? I think I just set it up as. Well, let me go back. I moved on to another one. I thought I had it as the December 2025.
It looks like it might be the November.
Oh,
expiration?
that's what it was. Sorry, 21 November 2025. My bad. I was flipping through and thought I had. Yep, November.
Good catch. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, November 21. Whoever caught that, Jim, or Lauren or James, someone caught it first. My bad. I was cycling through those expirations. It is November 21.
Perfect. Real quick, I want to answer Dan's question here because it's a good question. He says, "Why are you going for such a long time frame?" Typically, we do the swing trading, right? We do the short-term time frames, the quick trades in and out. What we're doing today is trying to build a portfolio using options on how I might invest in stocks, but then leverage our returns for much bigger returns, like you see here. And the reason we're doing these longer-term options today is because we have just all of these unique readings in the markets where, yes, short term, we're getting a lot of volatility. Short term, we're getting a lot of news driven moves, but in the long term, this looks like it should be a pretty great and solid buying opportunity for the long term investors. We just had this data hit today. We're basically the market signal that fired today, 100 or 1.5% moves 3 days in a row has signaled a move up in the S&P over the next year 100% of the time with a nice big return. So we're trying to just build this portfolio with good timing where we're not doing it at all-time highs where the market's been hitting new highs for 6 months in a row. Instead, we're trying to build a long-term, and it's not even that long, a one-year outlook perspective on how to really take advantage of this rare time in the market.
Yeah, and just if you want to put that like in super simple terms, I would say I don't feel really confident predicting this market 2 weeks out, but I feel
Right.
pretty confident we're going to have a recovery, a year out, and we'll finish better off. Now, if you guys are concerned about super downside market, you could do this to the downside as well. I'm not doing it to the downside because for me, this is all about taking stocks I don't mind owning right now at a discount that I like and just ramping up the risk to reward on less moves. In other words, like Graham said, down big on ANET. Now you need ANET to move up 50% to make any money. I was down huge on coin, still am. Need coin to make a huge move. Here's a way to kind of flip it where I need coin to make 1% over the next year and get really good ROI. So this is about, for me, flipping stocks that I like at these lower levels into better risk rewards. It's not about anything bearish because I just think that we're in a good position to be buyers right now. If you're nervous about the downside, set up a trade of the downside. As a matter of fact, you could build a whole portfolio here and then just put one big fat hedge trade on for the SPY. If the SPY does drop 25% and make probably 800% on that trade to the downside as one big hedge against all the other stuff. So just, uh, different things, different ways to look at it, different ways to structure it.
All right, I got
Yeah,
a
let me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Graham.
doing here Amazon. I'm punching it in now. It's in the moderate column, but I think this one is almost in a safe play with a huge payout, 140%. Amazon's a great company. It's a huge company. My wife is like Amazon's number one customer, so they're probably guaranteed to go up just based on her. Just joking, but really great company. I'm just going to make a bet that it's going to be above the 200-day moving average by Christmas. 205 technically, so slightly above here. Again, it's hard to show all the time right now. I'd have to adjust my screen, but it get a long time for it to recover just back to this level. If I'm right, which that's a tiny move on Amazon, realistically, it could happen this week on earnings. Excuse me, next week on earnings. But if I'm right, I'm not going to get a 10% payout, not a 20%, but 140% payout on Amazon as long as it just rebounds slightly from here by Christmas. So that's my play there on Amazon.
All right, I messed up your box there, Graham, because someone asked a good question. They said, "Hey, the percentages don't click immediately for me. How do I just think about it in terms of dollars?" So I added a column there: gain per $100 if you hit that max gain. Sorry, I messed up your borders. But this way now and I guess we could add a. Why don't I just duplicate it and add a per thousand? You make it even easier for folks. But that way you can look at it. Hey, what happens if I put $100 into this? What am I actually looking at in real dollar figures? Forget who initially asked that question, but Joseph, I think maybe. Hopefully that's helpful. It'll kind of put it in perspective for what your potential profits are. Now, obviously, your risk then is whatever you put in. So if you put $500 in, that's your risk. Then I threw the potential reward in there as well. Okay, guys, gold is also on the sheet. I think we covered that
Real
real
quick, real
quick.
quick. I'm gonna put the filter on here. It should filter for you guys. But here's what I did, Nate, for that. Here we go. I just put a dollar amount in here. So what I'm going to set up is a formula so you can just come up here and punch in a dollar amount. It's not going to do it right
Oh,
now. The
nice.
number will change based on that. So um,
Nice, nice, nice.
if I can get things to move. All right, cool. That's it. You go ahead.
All right, doing all kinds of custom work here. I absolutely love it. I love it for the people. All right. So I'm going to throw in Walmart next, and I'm going to do Walmart on the safe side here. So let me go ahead and look at it. I think I'm going to do a year out for Walmart. Let me just pull up the option chain real quick, and I will start plugging Walmart in. So Walmart, we have the March 20, 329 days, almost a year. Walmart's at 95 right now. So let's see what the 95. Well, let's actually go to the 90 here. See what we can get. Ooh, not bad. All right, so I'm gonna go pretty safe on Walmart. I'm gonna go buy the 85 grams, sell the 90. So basically, this means Walmart doesn't drop 6% in the next year, which I think is a pretty safe bet
Mhm.
on that stock. And you can get that in for about 370. So not again, we're not talking massive ROI. We're talking 20, 25% on a $5 spread. Um,
Oh, is it by 85?
yeah, buy 8.5, sell 90. So you're gonna get what, 30%?
35%.
30, yeah, okay, 35% if Walmart doesn't drop 6%. I mean, again, guys, this is what you can do with spreads that you can't do with anything else. The reason that I like spreads isn't to try to make it complicated on people. It's because you can just set up dynamics in the market that you really cannot do with any other trade. And yes, of course, you absolutely get the spreadsheet. Every single person's going to get it. You can copy it and edit it on your own side. We bopped it in a couple times, but let me let me drop it in one more time. And like Graham said, once the sheet is done, so once we're totally done, you're going to want to go in and make a copy of it so that you can then edit it and do whatever you want. Because this is going to be view only for all of you who are on the sheet right now. But then once we're fully done, make a copy. You can edit it up and do whatever you want with it. Change the values, throw in some of your own trades that you like, all that good stuff. All right, Graham, we are already 13 minutes over our target here. You want to do one or two more?
Let's uh let's just do a speed round here.
Because
We're
we haven't even mentioned the other big
for
surprise
three
that we have
minutes.
coming up today.
Yeah, we got another surprise coming up, but I'm not going to talk for 3 minutes. I'm just going to fill this sheet in as many as I can, as fast as I can. And I anticipate that you will do the same.
All right, cool. Which
I have
which ones are you going to
the
take?
sheet. What's that?
Which ones are you going to take?
I'll do now in ISRG. Here's some lists of that were posted in the chat earlier if you want to take some of those as well. I think GE, I think HWM and GE are two very safe plays that can be made or moderate, but
I'm going to throw
maybe
LOI in the
could be a good
moderate.
one. Oh,
I'll throw GE in the safe here.
Costco could be a good one.
I
Palantir
like
would be aggressive. Let me put Palantir down here for
I like
aggressive.
Home Depot for the safe. Yeah, Mike, we've been going slow up till now. What are you talking? No, I'm just kidding. It's we're ripping through, but again, that's why we created the sheet because we figured we'll go through these quick, and we want to have the sheet left over for you guys. And then as soon as we're done with the sheet, we have another little surprise for you guys that we have not mentioned yet to anyone outside of this call. Well, our team, obviously, but outside of that, because I'm doing something a little special that we weren't planning on until some certain dominoes fell. So keep hang tight. Once we get through this, we got more good stuff coming up for y'all. All right. So I'm going to start with GE here and throw that one in there. So GE, you can get another 30-ish%
Here's
on a
some
trade. Doesn't fall 10%. It's amazing how good some of these. risk rewards are. Getting for about 325 on GE, $5 there. And you can make 53, guys, you can make 53% on GE if it doesn't fall 10%. I love these trades.
I'll start.
Let's check out Home Depot. And by the way, let me ask another question. Just as we talk about why these spreads can be so advantageous, the market can go up, down, it can go down, and then move back up. Did anyone trade AVGO with me from 2 weeks ago? That would have been now. It was an official automated options trade with AVGO. Anyone get that one? Because that was a great example of why the spread is so powerful. It looked like it was going to be a losing trade. AVGO dropped on us like 5%, and it looked like dead in the water trade. But because we have that line in the sand, the power of the spread, all we needed was a bounce back above that level. Full profit today. Oh, well, target. I shouldn't say full profit because we use a target, but a full target today and a big win on AVGO, even when it looked totally dead in the water. And that's why these trades are so powerful. Like we could trade GE here. It could drop 5%, it could drop 10%, and then just bounce 2% 7 months from now, and you're back in profit. Again, these trade structures are just so powerful. They really are. So I think when you do them long term, you stack the odds even further in your favor. All right, I'm going to do January 26th on Home Depot here. And do about another 30%. Oh, wait do you see this one on Home Depot that I put up? All right. This is going to be a
Again,
good one.
guys, it's happening in real time. So don't be punching in these trades, or you can do whatever you want, but I'm adjusting some things here. Now. XRG. And guys, you're obviously witnessing I haven't taken any trades so far. I'm going to do this after the class. Some of these may not fill. Keep that in mind. Don't get frustrated. Don't look to go overpay. That's why we're trying to give you a ton of trades to choose from on this a la carte menu for you that you can then take and copy and paste. And if you like one, doesn't fill, just move on. Give it a day. Maybe try tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, but Monday.
Yeah, that's the other good thing about kind of going out a year is that we have plenty of time to get filled. Be patient on the fills. Let the market get you in and get you out. All good stuff. Check out this one on Home Depot, guys. Home Depot, if it doesn't drop 16% on the underlying stock, you make a 35% return.
Wow.
ATH Sylvia is all time high. So if it hits all time highs, is what that Tesla one is referencing there, and the now one as well. All time highs. All right, let me plug in one more on LLY. This is a moderate one, so we're basically going to do a classic Graham wrap on this one, going out to March of 26. Grab that one for you guys. Spreads are a little crazy on some of these a year out, but that's why you just be patient on the fills. Start at the low end. If you don't get filled, no big deal, but be patient. All right, we're going to buy the 860 on LLY and sell the 870, which is nice because that means we need no movement. We just need LLY to stay flat.
Palantir, what a stock. What a stock.
Price here looks like about 340, 350, but the spread is quite wide. So I'll just remind you guys to be conservative, start at the low end. That LLY one seems a little too good to be true. I haven't tried to get filled on it, folks. Spread's pretty wide. It might not fill. It might have to go up, but I would say anything better than $5 is going to be pretty darn good. I mean, if you can make 185% with the stock performing at zero, that's almost too good to be true. We'll see how it actually fills later on when I try to get into some of these actual trades. All right. By the way, Bitcoin up 2%, Mag's up over 1%. Just the risk on and aggressive assets are driving here. All right. Fortinet. I like Fortinet for a little bit closer. Let's do a Christmas present on Fortinet here.
I love it.
Go for the 100, 105.
Real quick, guys, here, I'm going to go I shouldn't say very short, but a much shorter expiration on ANET. Yes, the one that punched me in the face earlier this year. Let me walk you through why. I'm doing this when, if above 200 moving average by summer. It's going to be high risk, high reward. Almost a 500% payout right now on ANET. We're betting that by June, it's back above the 200-day moving average. So see where my crosshairs are? Right where my crosshairs are. If it's above there, by that time, you make about 500% return on investment on ANET. Reason why I like this right now is it's very, very beaten up. It's a very, 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 very profitable stock. It loves beating earnings over and over and over again. And if we look at a similar sort of company, ServiceNow, which was in a similar boat, similar shape, where it's a very great company and it just got beat up in this recent drawdown, they popped 15% yesterday on earnings. So it went from 800 bucks to 920, 950 overnight. I think ENET is in a similar shape. Obviously, don't know what's going to happen, but earnings are next week or the following week. And I think it could reasonably, very reasonably pop back in the 90s right from that and then carry higher above the 200-day moving average, definitely by summer. So again, I don't know that's going to happen, but it's so beat up. It's a very profitable stock, very good stock, and you can get a very nice payout.
450% crazy. Mitch brought up a good point. So for these, Mitch, one of the reasons we do the debit spread is because you really have no risk of early assignment on these. So even though you're holding it for a year, like on a credit spread, if you're holding it for a year, you have some risk that, maybe it dips down and you get, assigned. On the debit side, you really have no risk of early assignment. If that were to ever happen, which I don't imagine that it would, but if it ever did, it would just mean you get the full profit in that case. So you just make the absolute max amount of money possible if you ever were in that situation. Although I don't think any of us will be lucky enough to be in that situation. You'd have to keep an eye on it at the very end in case it closed between the strikes. That's really the only, but obviously the odds of you picking the exact $2 or $5 window a year from now that it would finish would be very unlikely. But yeah, keep an eye on it at the end here. All right. We do, guys, hang tight. We got a couple more to throw in here, and then we have an even bigger surprise than this beautiful build your own portfolio that we planned. So just hang tight for one more minute, and we'll get to it. Boy, Fortinet looks beautiful on the weekly chart, I have to say. A little more aggressive there on Fortinet, guys, but it was just at 114. So we're not asking a whole lot when we ask it to move up to that, 105 level.
All right, I'm going to take the JPM one here. You do the Costco. We'll
I'm
run
jumping on Costco right
that.
now.
And then we have one final big surprise that's really important for today because it specifically has to do with a trade to take today before the weekend hits, hopefully get paid out on Monday.
Yes, one that I was not planning on doing, but I think we have an opportunity now, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to do a little bit tighter here on Costco because I like Costco. It seems to have built a base. We're not going to ask it to do a whole lot here and see what kind of ROI we can get. So this is another one we're just asking on Costco. If you guys like Costco, pretty good ROI here. Just asking the stock to do absolutely nothing when if cost performs at 0% or better. And this is through September, so I'm going a little bit tighter here. But again, I like where it's at right now. So we'll see what we can get. And that would be 108% if it fills around that 240 level. Yes, for those of you asking recording. Yep, yep, yep. Got the recording. Here it is in the sheet there on line 18. Like I said, folks, we threw this. We didn't try to get into any of these trades. We just tried to map these out for you. So you have to jump in here, figure out which ones you want to take or don't take, or paper trade or whatever. Might be cool to paper trade every single one and just see what our portfolio looks like a year from now. But you have to check on the fills because we plugged in what we think is about the right mid price here, and just be patient. Pick the ones you want. Start the low end of the spread and take your time working up, and see if you can get filled there for the best possible price. And then one final thing I want to mention here is what you can do on all of these if you choose is you could put a target on them. You could put a limit order on here if you want to get out when it outperforms. What I would usually do if you do a limit is I would pick a price right between the entry and the max profit. Okay, folks. So look at SPY there, 350, $5. Go about that's $1.50. So go about 75 cents higher if you want to put a target. If you see some of the more aggressive ones, like 220 and $5, put a target in the 350 range. So you can always do that. That way, if the stock way outperforms earlier in the cycle, you can get out and be on the sidelines with money, and you're not even worrying about where the stock is going to finish. So that's just one more thing to keep in mind. One of the other great benefits here of taking advantage of this trade structure. Actually, it's a similar trade structure to what we're about to talk about next, except for it's over the weekend. We're going from 400 days to basically one market day. And we'll tell you a little bit about that here in a second as well.
Yep. And real quick, guys, just so one last final note. I have put the sheet in the chat. Click that sheet. Looks like about 90, maybe 100 of you are in here. There's 450 people in the room. I want to see 450 people in the sheet. So you all have it. Link is in the chat. Guys, come here, file, make a copy. Now that we're done, you can come make a copy. They'll ask you what you want to name it. Name it whatever you want. Then you can come in here. You can delete out rows that you don't want, tickers you don't want. Keep the ones you do want. You can come here to the right side, and this is an adjustable number. Let me just highlight it yellow, just so you know it's adjustable. So you can say, all right, if you're looking at, let's say the SPY trade, all right, I want to put 2,500 bucks into this one. You can put that in there, and it'll tell you the potential payout there. All the numbers will change, but this is an adjustable number here where you can simulate if I put X amount in, what is the potential to pay? I will not, Linda, can I add the chart? I can't add the chart to this. Resend link. All right, link is coming one more time here in the
Here's
chat.
it. Someone said they were having trouble opening the Google version of the link. I threw a tiny URL in there if that's helpful to get that to open up for you. If Google's giving you a redirect or something. But yeah, like Graham said, there's only like a little over 100 of you in here. We need 450 in there, and every single one of you to make a copy.
Is everyone having issues? Is anyone having any issues with the link? I had a notification earlier that there was too many people in there. But all right, copy the link. If it doesn't work now, maybe try it later. Should work. Dream portfolio copy. Perfect. Prices for Costco is incorrect. Didn't, I mean, it may have moved slightly. Again, these prices are going to move, but these are generally what they were at right now. With that said, guys, we do have one more bonus for you, and that's because does anyone know what day of the week it is today?
I think we'll probably have some people who know.
Is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? No, no, no. Today is Friday, and there's something very special about Fridays that we haven't been able to talk about in a while. And this is something that you haven't, unless you were with us a couple weeks back when we did it, you haven't seen it since because we took it off the internet. This was a very short-lived strategy where we put it up for you guys to see. The action takers got in, hopefully made some money, and then we took it off the internet to get them rolling, get them started. But today, for opening playbook, Attendees, we're doing a little special here. We're going to get one more shot at it, so don't go anywhere. If you wait to see this replay tomorrow, you will not be able to, I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but you won't be able to access this specific opportunity we're going to talk about today. And main reason also is because you can't take a trade on Saturday. But
True.
let's get
Uh,
rolling here. Don't go anywhere. What's that, Nate?
I said, hold on. They're right. My cost was pulling up I was pulling up the previous asset and copied out those. There we go.
Mistakes,
All
mistakes.
right. There we go. You guys were right. You guys were right. All right.
Okay. So don't go anywhere. Really important. New opportunity today, and this won't be available tomorrow. So let's roll in. So a few weeks ago, I sat down with Nate, our good buddy here, to talk through a new way to take advantage of options over the weekend. Now I'm talking about a method that has hit with 94.4% accuracy by placing, Deanna, can you delete that really quick? By placing a trade on Friday, which is today, and letting it automatically close on Monday. So we place the trade today and let it close out on Monday. Now, this was a limited time broadcast, and since then, we took it off the internet. I think it was only available for 4 or 5 days, and we said, let's shut it down, take it off the internet, we'll bring it back later. Well, if you missed out big. Linda here went in with 350 bucks, and it closed out automatically on Monday when she was prepping lunches for the kids. Simple and perfect. Thank you. Jeff here made 650 bucks. Aaron made 813. Carrie here says keep up the great work. Pocketed 1,700 bucks. Cody was successful in his first trade, $1,140. Jeff made back the subscription cost in the first trade. Karen, with a winner, as you know, made $1,230. Bill, almost 1,000 bucks. Here we go, over and over again in many, many more stories just like it. Again, this was a limited time broadcast, and since then it was taken off the internet. But today we're giving you one more sneak peek at it. And that's because today, my special guest will be deploying a very special type of trade set to target right around $1,000 over the weekend. Now, I'm talking about around $1,000 by Monday morning. Now, no, you don't have to have decades of experience like him to make it happen. You don't need a massive $25,000 account, and you certainly don't need to place any sort of complex iron condor or a butterfly spread to do it either. Now, I love those kinds of trades, but this is much simpler than that. Now, it doesn't matter if you've been investing for years or if you still consider yourself a rookie. Anyone with a normal brokerage account can take part in this weekend trade. Now, as long as you have your position set before the closing bell on Friday afternoon, again, let's look at the calendar. Today is Friday. You got a couple hours to set the trade. As long as you do it before the bell, you are good to go. And depending on how much you invest, you too could be set to target $500, right? $1,000, sometimes even more by the time the Monday morning opening bell rings. For example, like on August 2nd, anyone could have taken a few minutes to place a quick trade before the weekend hit, then maybe hit the lake for some weekend fun. And then came back Monday morning to see an extra $943 sitting in the brokerage account. Then the next Friday roll around, August 9th, set the trade, and maybe gone to the classic car show over the weekend and woke up Monday with a crisp $1,052 in weekend income. And then a few days went by and you could have done it all again. Friday, August 16th, hit a few buttons on the phone or laptop to get in before the weekend hits, right? Then catch a round of golf with some friends, which you're more likely to catch Nate out there than me. I've decided I'm terrible at golf, so I should just give it up forever. But maybe you'd see me at dinner and live music for the weekends and brunch in the morning. That looks delicious. You'll definitely catch me there. But whatever it is you like to do, it's your weekend. Plan it how you wish. And in this example, when Monday came, instead of dreading the start of the week, folks could have come back to an extra $833 in the account on Monday morning. And we can just set this trade one weekend after the next. Friday, August 23rd, the next weekend, step one, place a trade. Step two, go enjoy life. And maybe that means taking the next few days just to relax. And when this one worked out, come back Monday morning to catch an extra $1,090 from weekend income. Now, before we get carried away, and this is really exciting, so it'll be easy for me to get carried away, but let me be the first person to say this. Obviously, not every weekend trade will work out. Like with any investment strategy, there's bound to be winners, there's bound to be losers along the way. That said, what really caught my eye about this weekend income approach is that according to the data, folks could have already hit with an outstanding 94% accuracy on nearly 100 weekend trades. As a matter of fact, Nate, you haven't had a loser yet. Now, of course, there's going to be winners and losers, but looking at the data, that would have been like winning 18 consecutive weekends in a row before taking the first loser. So you can see why my ears perked up when my guest first showed me the salted strategy. Because when things work out like they would have in August, we're talking about a nice little buffer for the month. In this case, it could have been $3,920 coming in the door. Now, I'm not going to talk your ear off and bore you to tell you about what an extra 3 grand might mean for you. You probably already have a good idea in your head. But I think we can all agree that a few $1,000 from maybe 15 minutes of work in August could have been more than worth it. And even better, it's not like there's any shortage of opportunities either, because each and every weekend, as long as the setup is right and the odds look in our favor, Nate's going to walk you through the testing. We'll get to do it again. For example, next weekend, Friday, September 6th, punch in the new trade. And on Monday, the brokerage should have automatically closed you out for one of the biggest paydays we've seen so far. In this case, $3,039. Then again, the next week, Friday, September 13th, set the trade, head out for the weekend, rent an RV, do something fun. Once again, Monday morning, folks could have found another $803 in the account. And it's not like there's only a handful of examples to show you today. When you hit 94% of the time, there's really no shortage of winners to choose from. Like the following weekend, September 20th, and the next one, September 27th. So let me ask you again, guys, what are you doing today? Well, I'd like to invite you to join my special guest to place a very special type of trade this afternoon, set to target right around $1,000 over the weekend. Now, if that sounds like something that you'd be up for, then saddle up because over the next few minutes, my special guest, he's going to show you the giant misconception that holds most people back from these weekend trades. In fact, it held us back from these weekend trades for the longest time. He's also going to show you how the CBOE's move to launch daily options just recently opened the door for this new style of trade, the hidden upgrade inside all of the standard brokerage accounts that can unlock these income opportunities, plus, guys, the most important technical market factor that can help us capture $500 to $1,000 payouts with maximum accuracy. Again, guys, welcome to the Weekend Options Summit. This has been off the internet for weeks now. We only did it for a couple of days, shut it down. And today we're bringing it back for one day, but it is shutting down again tonight. So, guys, this is a very small, short window of opportunity here, and we want you to be in for it. Now, like I mentioned a moment ago, my name is Graham Lindman, and you might recognize me from my flagship strategy, the Perfect Apple Trade, which has reached over 100,000 people worldwide, or my famous wrap orders, which have helped folks see doubles in their trading. Now, given my track record, I don't normally take trade recommendations from other people, but when it comes to Nate, especially in these opening playbook sessions, I always listen. We have a great time. You see, despite having one of the most impressive track records that I've seen in the world of finance, including publicly growing a 10K stake to north of $50,000 over the course of 4 months, which he did last year in Telegram, if you guys followed along, that was quite the challenge and hit. Plus, he earned another $100,000 last year in his investment and dividend portfolio alone. As you can see, that's a pretty excellent return there based on the starting stake. Now, you won't find Nate's work on Kramer's Mad Money. You're not going to find him on Squawk Box, nor on CNN's Your Money. You're more likely to catch him hanging out with his family and friends at an amusement park or a ballpark than in busy New York City. But even though he's not strapped to a desk on Wall Street wearing a suit and tie, he's been able to routinely help deliver for folks over and over again across his strategies. In fact, we guys asked you at the beginning how many of you had been making money in the opening playbook, and we had a lot of great feedback. Well, here's some more stories. Carrie said Nate's program is instrumental in the growth of my account through the use of options. Rich says Nate makes the trade so easy and follows them each step of the way. He makes a complicated system very easy to follow, and he makes money. Scott said Nate has totally changed my options trading experience. My account balance is up almost 20% in a month's time. And I love this one from Linda. I came in not knowing anything about options. Nate is a great teacher, and I'm so grateful. My account is growing, and I can't wait to do more trades. And obviously, there's many more. We could spend the next hour just going over these stories. Now, while we've enjoyed stories like those from his very best students, today Nate is doing something totally different. He's unveiling a new way to target extra cash over the weekend, while most folks are out there left making nothing. And then he's going to invite you to take the next trade with him. It says this coming Friday. That is today, guys. You get to take that next trade today. And while we obviously can't promise future returns or protect against losses, this one will be targeting right around $1,000 by the time Monday hits. So, Nate, it's great to have you on today and take it away from here, my friend.
Well, thanks. I feel like being called a special guest feels a little overdrawn at this point, but I am pretty pumped up about today. Obviously, we weren't planning on doing this, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that we really do shatter all the notions about weekend trading, like I said, including my own from not too long ago, and set folks up with a brand new way to target extra income coming this Monday.
That's awesome.
So if you never made a penny from trading over the weekend, or if you've avoided the weekend altogether out of fear, well, don't beat yourself up because I was in that same boat. Most people assume that weekend trading is risky, that it's unpredictable, and even Google's AI search bot would tell you, yeah, hey, look, trading over the weekend has all this extra, risk tied to it. And like I said, if you asked me not long ago, probably 8 to 10 months ago, I would have agreed. In fact, I was public and told people, hey, don't trade over the weekend. You don't want to use the same structure that I'm using over the weekend. However, that was 10 months ago. And thanks to a slight adjustment to the usual trading strategy and a simple trick that's designed to eliminate almost all that weekend volatility, I've had to completely change my tune because the numbers don't lie. And that's because I found some data that suggested that weekends weren't only worth trading, but potentially the very best time there's to take advantage of extra income from the stock market. You see, not only is this all new way of targeting cash flow over the weekend actually safer than any of the other option strategy that I've used before, but the profitability and the equity curve is probably the best blend of consistency and upside that I've ever seen.
A beautiful equity curve.
Yeah, it's not bad. So this is what the model portfolio shows over the last 2 years since the invention of those one-day options Graham mentioned, and that's without investing a penny more into the system. And it includes trades that happened over 6 major market corrections, including one that I'm sure you're very familiar with just over the last couple of months. And so here's the question. Do you see those big drawdowns in this equity curve from when the market dropped? Because it also includes 42 weekends where the S&P 500 fell from Friday to Monday. So it actually went lower over the weekend that we're actively trading. But you don't see 42 losers there, right? I mean, the equity curve is incredibly consistent. The 42 losers do not show up on this chart. And so according to our research, after 70 of these weekend trades, only 4 of them lost. And that includes during the most recent market scare. Actually, it's now up to 72-4 because we haven't added the last 2 winners there, which is kind of crazy. So that's why I kind of ended up throwing out everything I had said about weekends up till now. Once I verified all the data, went through all 75 of those trades because the numbers really don't lie. And as long as we set up that specific type of trade on Friday before the markets close, we have a chance to target $789, $943, maybe 1,057 by the time Monday hits. That's based on a 5K trade, even if the market goes up, down, or nowhere at all. For example, take a look at this run in December that we had. Okay, so keep in mind, December looked like the markets were about to take a massive plunge, maybe even head into a bear market. If you remember, that was after the election hype, and then it started ripping back down. The VIX spiked to the highest level we had seen in about 6 months. And the S&P 500 was really starting to crumble there as we got into mid-December. But of course, none of that matters with weekend options. You're not actually watching the charts trying to pick any trends because folks could have tuned out all the noise and simply placed a trade on Friday, December 13th, and then unplugged because once the trade set up, you're good to go. And sure enough, over the weekend, the markets were flat as could be. Not a whole lot going on there, as you can see in the chart. And anyone who had their money in the S&P 500 would have basically made $0 over the weekend. But anyone taking the weekend option could have seen a very different story. $1,929. That's a lot better than zero over the weekend. Then the next Friday rolled around. This was December 20th. Graham, if you've been following along, you could have set your trade in about 60 seconds right from your phone, then put it back in your pocket, actually enjoyed the weekend. And this time, the stock market skipped higher over the weekend with a nice bullish move that you can see there. Anyone who invested in the S&P would have collected about 0.5% on that little gap up over the weekend. So if you put 5K in the S&P, you would have made a lovely $25.38, enough to pick up lunch at your local sub shop there. Although I don't even know in today's day and age if $25 gets people lunch. It's insane. But if you took the weekend options, you would have seen about 31 times the result, $775 on the same 5K over the same exact weekend, which would have been enough to grab some college playoff tickets. That's what I happen to be doing that that weekend there. Go Penn State crushed SMU on that weekend, and $775 would have got the tickets done for you. But we're not done yet because the very next weekend, Friday, December 27th. I don't know if you guys remember, it was starting to really panic. We didn't get the Santa Claus rally that people wanted. It was looking pretty ugly. But once again, you could have ignored all that, followed along, set the trade on Friday with a couple of clicks on your phone or computer. And this time, the S&P 500 actually took a nosedive over the weekend. So not a pretty sight, a little over 0.5%. And this time, if you would have had your money in the S&P, you would have lost $68. So there goes that lunch money that you worked so hard the previous weekend to make. But anyone taking the weekend options could have automatically cashed out with about $1,037 over that exact same weekend, even though the market was down, which is right around our average payout based on that 5K stake, right in that 20% range over and over again every weekend.
Okay, Nate, I think that we all want to see what you're doing here. I mean, making money when the stock market goes up or even flat over the weekend, that's one thing. But as you can see, guys, having a shot to do it even when the S&P takes a plunge, well, that puts things on a whole new level, especially when you consider that folks could have pocketed an extra $3,743 here during one of the worst months of last year. Now, I hate to spoil the surprise for everyone, but if you fast forward to the following month, January, it was actually even better. Friday, January 3rd, you could have set the trade. And while Nate was parked on the couch watching Penn State win round two of the playoffs, the weekend trade was also humming along in the background. By the time Monday rolled around, a whopper could have been sitting in the account, $2,807. And then the next week, Friday, January 10th, maybe placed a quick trade from the phone while playing some golf, and then back to focusing on winning that bet with your brothers. And this time, another Monday payday automatically cashed out $1,057. And I can go on and on. Trade number three in January, $892 in weekend income. Trade number four in January, $909 in weekend income. Now that's another four in a row and $5,000 in weekend income for the month of January alone. Actually, a little more than that. So, Nate, tell us, how do these weekend options work? How can we take advantage of it today?
Yeah, well, first, obviously, not every trade works out, just like that game in Miami against Notre Dame didn't work out. Not every trade works out. So you can't ever bet the farm on one weekend position. Instead, I tell people to be patient, grow the account over time. You're going to have, 30 or 40 opportunities over the year to stack these opportunities. And with a 94.4% win rate, it's not going to take a whole lot of time to get that compounding going, assuming that we're performing how we hope and how we expect. So I'm not talking about, hey, go all in, earn 5,000% on a weekend, buy you a Ferrari. That's obviously not the kind of strategy that I focus on. Anyone who says that is blowing smoke. But I will say the data shows one of the most promising reports I've ever seen. And it's so consistent, even in spite of how ugly the last 2 years have been with the chaotic markets. And depending on how much you would have started with, just literally using this equity curve, we're looking at profits from the mid five figures to well over $100,000 on that model portfolio in the last 2 years. But it wouldn't have happened overnight. Again, just clear reminder, started by taking one trade at a time, consistent, swinging the bat, start small, scale up. And for you, it can start hopefully today if you want to join me on today's opportunity, just like it did for a whole bunch of folks already. I guess this would have been about, 6 weeks ago before we closed this out. We had a whole bunch of people jump into that very first trade, one for one, hit the target, all those good responses, which is always great to see. Now we're, two for two, and we've avoided some of the ugliest weekends, which is honestly a key part of why that equity curve looks so good, is because we've filtered out some of the worst weekends, or just from February, which again, I'm sure most people don't remember February as a great month where they made a lot of money. And it's because the sentiment in February was not great. We had the post inauguration run, things were starting to look pretty good. And then all of a sudden, not so good.
It's painful.
Yeah. The S&P 500 was heading into full correction territory for the first time since August of 2024, and accounts were getting blown up left and right. Unfortunately, I had a lot of messages from my students about how ugly things were. Yet at the same time, during that same month in February, anyone following along with weekend options could have actually had a perfect record over those February weekends. Weekend number one, 2589 by Monday morning. That's a whopper there. Weekend number two, 1491 by Monday morning. And then weekend number three, $929 by Monday morning.
Nate, that's really incredible. That would have been 3 months in a row of winners, right? We're talking, you showed us December, January, and February, all winners over that 3 months. That's pretty good.
Well, it's actually 4 months in a row that we have with perfect winners because we've got to include November in here, which had 3 weekends. One we filtered out 23-20 in November. Then we had 37-43 in December, filtered one out there as well. We got all 4 weekends in January, 5,667 in January, and then 5,009 in February. So 4 months in a row, again, using the filters in this trade strategy, we had perfect from the model portfolio, all 15 trades there.
Well, Nate, this is really, really good. And I'm interested. You said filtered out. I'm interested to see how you're avoiding some of these losing weekends, keeping that win rate so high. But if we're looking at that 4 month stretch, guys, that's $16,739 in weekend income over that period. Or in other words, guys, if you just want to look at it one weekend at a time, so like what would that mean for this weekend if that average were to be hit again? That'd be about $984 per weekend on average. And again, not one single loser in over 4 months, and you still don't have a loser on the live trade so far, which is awesome. Now, I know that you're an expert when it comes to option selection and pairing up opportunities with high risk to reward. That's how you've been able to show some top students some great results from your various strategies over the years. Like Richard here, he said, I took 5 trades, 5 automatic wins. He made $4,434. He loves that you can set it and forget it. Modi said 9 of 9 on the winners, $11,250 in 9 weeks. And then Roger S. here said up $15,770 after only 8 trades. 15 grand. That's nuts. And we have many, many more top stories just like it. But I also know that in order to get some of those results, Nate, you have to use some pretty complex options to take those trades. So I have to ask, is that what you're doing here? Is this maybe some sort of iron condor where you want it to stay within a range? Maybe it's a strangle or straddle where you want it to pop outside where you're doing, 4 options together.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you can't do this kind of strategy with regular calls and puts. I mean, kind of like we talked about today in opening playbook, just doesn't give you the different dynamic opportunities. But in my opinion, this is one of the more basic trades out there. Basically, all of the popular brokerage firms will let you do this with just a little bit of training because it's risk defined and straightforward. But here's where it actually gets even better. You don't need a huge account to take these trades. In fact, the average entry is less than $200 per contract. That's the question we already got in the chat there. So even though I'm using maybe a 2K example or a 5K example, you trade with $200, $400, whatever you really want. And when you consider that you can purchase 3 of these contracts for the same cost as one share of the S&P 500, and then get basically 25 to 50 times the upside over the weekend, I think it's a pretty sweet deal. Just again, like you said, the risk to reward here is so extreme.
Well, Nate, I definitely agree. I mean, I think we all like that kind of leverage you're getting. So, can you walk us through how it works?
So the weekend income opportunity is because a special pricing phenomenon that we have in the options market. You guys know I'm always obsessed with the options market and what you can find there versus just looking at stock. Now, this is specifically in the short dated options. Okay, so you have to understand market makers, they're the ones who set the price of each option out there. Okay, and when they set those short dated options, like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, they're calculating a standard amount of time premium for each day. So it's not just about where the stock is, it's also about how much time. So if you're entering on Monday and looking for income on Tuesday, you're going to have 1 day worth of premium from Monday to Tuesday. If you're entering on Tuesday, looking to collect income from a Wednesday option, again, you have 1 day worth of premium kind of priced in to that trade, so on and so forth, right? Makes sense. And that's, of course, how they have to price it. Now, what's really important and what really brings the weekend options to life is that unlike the other weekdays, if you're specifically entering a trade on Friday and collecting the Monday premium, you're actually getting those extra premiums by holding it over the weekend. Okay, so that's like instantly tripling the amount of premium that you can collect, even though it's still just 1 day in the market because you have those extra weekend days. So even though the markets are closed Saturday and Sunday, you're basically still getting paid for all 3 days of holding that trade. Now, I've seen some people take that information and run with it, and they basically say, "Oh, look, extra premium," and they blindly trade over the weekend, holding short-dated options on the S&P or the Qs or something like that, thinking that all they need is triple premiums and they're going to start making money hand over fist. But unfortunately, the market makers are a little smarter than that. So if you actually look at the data and run the numbers for yourself, that can be a huge mistake. In fact, I did that just running tests on my end. Just what happens if you kind of do it blindly. And while I can tell you the premiums, yes, they are much, much bigger over the weekend. You could look right now and confirm that. blindly trading short dated options over the weekend has a pretty terrible risk to reward ratio, only a 55.2% win rate, which is not something I'm interested in, and a pretty horrifying 74.2% drawdown. Again, not exactly something I'd be interested in trading. So that's why I've really been against systematically trading over the weekend. You just take on too much risk and volatility for what you can get out under normal circumstances. But thanks to a recent discovery by the team, everything changed on how I approach weekends. By making a slight adjustment to my usual option strategy, we're able to take advantage of that triple premium. Okay, so without taking on all those major drawdowns, without kind of closing your eyes and hoping for the best, and instead hitting with an outstanding 94.4% accuracy over the last 2 years of data. And as Graham mentioned earlier, that's basically from an odds perspective, like hitting 18 weekends in a row before you would take your first losing trade. Okay, and it couldn't be more straightforward because all we're doing, like we're going to do today, is placing a quick trade on Friday before the close, then nothing else. Okay. Win or lose, the position automatically is going to be closed out on that Monday when the trade expires. For example, let's take a deep dive into the November trades that I mentioned just a couple minutes ago. Now, in November, folks were very uncertain to say the least, right? We had the elections coming up, we had Fed rate, we had global conflicts increasing, all kinds of stuff. And naturally, the S&P 500 was falling pretty hard on fear of a lot of those headlines. If you guys remember, that was going into November. It was looking really ugly. And the first week of November, the number of put option buyers exploded to levels that we hadn't seen in years. The put to call ratio, they call it, was out of control. But of course, once again, guys, we're not looking at charts. We're not looking at any of that data. None of that really matters because thanks to the slight adjustment to my usual option strategy and the triple weekend premiums that we can target by entering on Friday, anyone following along could have actually had another month of all winners in November. Okay, so weekend trade number one here when the markets fell a little bit over the weekend, still grabbed $775. That's the first week in November. Then trade number two when stocks were totally flat, still nailed $754 over that weekend. And then number three, when the S&P did shoot up, we had a $789 opportunity there on November 22nd as well.
That is awesome. And Nate, let me stop you for a moment. You said that trading over the weekend the normal way or blindly doing it just because of those triple premiums would have only produced a 55% win rate. Because that's really no better than flipping a coin and hoping for the best. Yet somehow you've managed to find a way to leverage these triple premiums on the weekend and produce a win rate nearly twice as good, taking it from 55% to 94%. That is just outstanding. And again, it's not like you're going for measly 3 to 5% returns here either, when we're risking a lot for a little reward, where 5K invested would only pay 250 bucks. So far from the study, nearly 100 trades analyzed, the average payout sits at $1,344 in weekend income. So you're getting big returns with a really great win rate. So I think it's time you tell us how this is even remotely possible.
Well, the phenomenon here is actually pretty simple, but when you actually get down into the data. So the reason the market makers price in these triple premiums over the weekend is because the weekend does tend to be more volatile. Okay. So it's not just an idea, it is more volatile. And we've seen that in 2025. I mean, big tariff news coming over the weekend, the deep seek thing coming over the weekend, wars and missiles being sent over the weekend, like all that stuff happens. And then Monday has to deal with that, right? Whatever happened over the weekend. So in order to cover themselves from blindly buying a call or put for dirt cheap and then getting those outsized moves from the weekend volatility, the market makers, of course, increase the premiums. Okay, so that means you need a really, really big move over the weekend to make any sort of meaningful money. And more importantly, you need to almost every weekend to have that big move if you actually want to take advantage of that kind of strategy on a consistent basis. So that's really why I refuse to touch weekend trades until recently, because it simply felt like gambling. Sure, every once in a while you're going to hit a big winner, but it's not going to be consistent. Not only do we need a big move, but we also need to be on the correct side of the move. And like I said, you need to happen over and over and over again on a consistent basis. And that's just a really tough ask. It goes back to what I always say, trying to get timing and direction right and then get a big enough move to make any money. It's just a combination that most people can't do. But that's really when it hit me. Since the market makers price in these triple premiums specifically over the weekend and not on any other day, because no other day functions like that, it means trading these short dated options on Friday is really unlike trading options on any other day of the week. So why would I try to apply an option strategy that works on Tuesday or Wednesday going into normal expirations onto these Friday special expirations? It just doesn't make any sense. It would be like using the average temperature in Antarctica to predict how hot it will be in Florida today, right? It's apples and oranges, different options, different data, different applications. They don't go hand in hand. And when that clicked, it was the moment that changed everything for me. I had to shift my thinking and really start over with a blank slate altogether on the data throughout all the tests I had before and kind of started over trying to hone in on the weekend opportunity. And that's really what led to the discovery that I don't think anyone else is using right now when it comes to these weekend options. You see, the key to trading options with an extremely high win rate is simply giving yourself enough cushion on the position. Might not sound sexy, but that's really the key to winning more trades. So for some of my flagship strategies, I'm able to trade with what I would call a 1% cushion. Okay. So that's basically saying, how much do I need the market to move to make me money? In this case, I need about a 1% move in my favor to make money on a regular option. And if we hit that, our brokerage should automatically cash out, pay us on the trade because we got the minimum move required to make money on that trade, even if the stock eventually false, because we're not trying to predict where the stock's going to end up. Now, here's what's really crazy. Since these Friday options have triple the premiums baked into the trade, we can actually make a slight adjustment to the usual option selection here and get triple the cushion on the trade because we're using the premium to our advantage. So instead of needing a 1% directional move from the market like we would typically see on, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where you're kind of priced in more tightly there, here by making a small adjustment, leveraging those triple premiums, we can extend and get triple the cushion on that same trade. As long as it moves in my favor during any part of the trade, we really should be golden here on these weekend trades. In fact, the stock market can actually fall a little bit over the weekend and we can still hit our profit target. And that's the whole secret sauce behind weekend options, okay? Using the triple premiums baked into that trade, only that trade, guys. You're not going to get this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, only on that Friday trade to give triple the cushion on the trade structure. For example, take a look at this one on October 11th, okay? So if you're trading the weekend options, you could have placed this trade on that Friday, right at the end of the day, just before the closing bell. With the options criteria I'd give you, you automatically get a triple premium, triple the cushion baked in. You can see how much range we have here. In this case, your brokerage would have automatically cashed you out Monday morning because you did get a nice directional move easily within the cushion, about $1,026 in weekend income, hands-free, hitting your account. Another great example here, July 26th. Okay, again, Friday, take the trade before the market closes. And as soon as you place that trade on Friday, the way that I set up the trade, you're baking in that triple cushion on the trade as soon as you enter. And by Monday morning, another little gap up there, you could have seen an excellent payout, about $1,018 there by Monday morning, even though the stock actually ended up falling later in the. And I can give you dozens more examples, actually about 5 dozen more examples. Friday, April 26th, place the trade, triple cushion, boom, great weekend, 1,800. You can see you even gap down a little bit there. Didn't matter. Still bounced back up into our cushion and got $1,836, even though probably everyone else trading Friday to Monday would have lost money on that same setup. Now, obviously, I don't take this trade blindly every single weekend. There are a few really, really important filters that I run through. For example, in 2025, I don't know how many weekends we've had, maybe 16 weekends, but we've only taken 10 trades. Or I should say the system would only have fired 10 trades. My members don't have that many because we only opened this up 6 weeks ago. But 94.4 accuracy requires some filters in there, and it's why we're 10 for 10 in 2025, even in the most ridiculous market conditions that we've seen in a couple of years.
I think that's really important too. I mean, we've seen some crazy weekend drops, but so far, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there has been a single loser in 2025, correct? Even though we're straight down pretty much on the markets.
Yeah, and it's because of those filters. So, yes, that means sitting on the sidelines sometimes, but sometimes that's the absolute best thing you can do. And one of the things that we baked into this was a technical pattern that ended up jumping our win rate. After we already had what we thought was a pretty good win rate, we'd really jumped it up another significant margin with just one pattern, which, by the way, you'll learn in the strategy class if you want. And typically that gives around 3 or 4 trades a month. So if you look through the entire history, you'll see typically we'll get 3 to 4. So a lot of months, it'll be 3. We'll filter out 1. Usually we do a pretty good job of filtering out the bad one and getting the 3 good ones. And, we target around $1,000 per weekend on those trades. the data shows about a $1,344 weekend payout when the trade works out. Okay, so a little over 20% over the weekend. And if you'd like to get in on the new upcoming opportunity, which we're going to fire off here in about 3 hours, then I'd love for you guys to join me for that next opportunity. But I must warn you, this is very, I mean, when we say very exclusive, I mean, literally, we're going to have it open for like what, like 10 hours or something for just today only because we thought, okay, we're finally going to get a new opportunity here. We're on a hot streak. Let's let a couple more people in, even though we weren't going to open this back up until June. So today in Opening Playbook, right now, we're going to open it up. Who knows if we hit people even before Opening Playbook session ends. But either way, we have a hard deadline for the end of the day. So this is not going to be available after today. And if you already have your mind made up and you know that you want in, then by all means, post a yes in the chat. I would love for every single one of you in Opening Playbook because you guys in Opening Playbook are first come, first serve. So you get first look at this. You're the only ones who are going to see this within the next hour. And then if we don't fill all our spots, we'll have a couple of more opportunities before the end of the day. All right, sweet. Sandra, John, Afzal, Dan, Laura, Anthony, Van, Scott, Fred, Sarah, Timothy, Tom, Walt, Douglas, Joseph, Stephen. Okay, I'm running out. You guys are going too fast now, Marion. But thank you. Okay, good. Because this is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. And I think it really is a special opportunity to do something. Um, I don't want to give my whole spiel here, but as the market does stabilize and rebound, I think so many people who are on the sidelines are going to miss out, and we're going full tilt. We're taking full advantage of all of these opportunities, and weekend options is one of the ones that I'm absolutely the most excited about. And so if you take one of the limited spots today, let me tell you what you can expect to receive here. So the first thing, of course, is every single one that triggers. Every weekend that we get a trigger, I'm going to give you my very best weekend option opportunity. It's going to be the one that I trade with my own money, and I'm going to send you the entry criteria, the options to take, as well as the automated exit price, which you guys know I love. And you can expect 3 to 4 opportunities per month on average over the course of the year. Each one from the same exact strategy that showed the power to pay $1,344, over 20% on a weekend trade that you're usually holding for just a couple hours of market time. You also get the alert in Telegram and text in the last hour of the day on Friday. So you're not waiting around watching Telegram all day long. You know exactly when it's going to come, right between 3 and 4 p.m. every Friday that it triggers. But that's just the tip of the iceberg for the new members who joined today. You're also going to get my masterclass. I saw how much of you in here who were in the masterclass. How many of you guys thought that masterclass was pretty rock solid, valuable? I gave you all the roles. I gave you all the data, all the testing. I didn't hide any of the filters that we're using. It's all in there. How to select those trades, as well as how the actual criteria for the option selection works. So take full advantage of that. It's in your members area right now that you can take full advantage of and watch before our next trade even comes out.
You probably don't know this, but yesterday I was getting so excited for this opportunity because I'm like, hey, we might actually get the new weekend trade coming up because I know you do have those strict filters that have maintained that 100% win rate this year in this terrible year. I was like, hey, we might have a new entry on Friday, which is today now. So yesterday I actually watched the master class and I was shocked how much you gave away. You gave away everything in there for so people can use this whole strategy on their own, different tickers they can use it on, and so much and so forth. So guys, that's really, really awesome.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that strategy class I think is worth, its price in gold. I mean, $1,500 because, like Graham said, you could literally trade it for yourself for the rest of your life just with the rules in the strategy class, especially once you see the model portfolio and realize how darn good this thing has performed over the last couple of years. But I'm not only going to teach you the basics of the strategy, there's also a couple of bonus elements baked into that masterclass. First one is extended hours trading. So this is actually a cool little hack here because this works on tickers that are able to trade past 4 p.m. Okay, now that might sound like no big deal, but when you see how this works, you'll learn that you actually sneak a few extra early winners because the market opens or goes up to 4:15. And so you'll be able to get filled on some few bonus winners when you take advantage of that. You'll also get the early payday plan, which is so important. This is setting that automatic target so that you can set the trade up Friday, close your computer, walk away, and get automatically filled without watching your charts, panicking over what's happening, waiting for next alert. And sometimes the trades are so good that we actually get our target hit on Friday ahead of schedule. Again, normally the trades close on Monday, so you don't have to worry about the day trading rules or anything like that. But when we get those early paydays, sure is a lot of fun. We'll take one every once in a while. It's not going to mess with your day trading rules because you're only going to get one every once in a while. Like what happened on May 31st, $1,818. Didn't even have to wait till Monday. Friday, July 28th, didn't even have to wait till Monday. We had one on March 7th, $943, hit before Monday even came around. So imagine having gone into the weekend saying, hey, I hope this weekend trade works out, and then not even having to wait for the weekend to start, already have the $943 cash in hand. And I know some of you just experienced this not too long ago, right? A whole bunch of you guys who were part of that first weekend trade that hit before the weekend even started, had the cash in your pocket, ready to roll. I don't know, maybe go to a Penn State game like I did, or whatever else with the cash already in hand. So that was a lot of fun. And when those happen, we'll take them every single time.
Yeah, Nate, I really, really love it. And that's obviously a remarkable result. And this is all in line with what your students have been seeing across your work. Jeff made $30,700. He started small and he's scaling up. What about Art here? 5 of 6 trades, $4,600 on one of your strategies. Jack here was 3 for 3, up $9,000.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear from Jeff, Art, Jack, and a whole bunch of these other folks on weekend options. And remember, actually taking these trades, a few clicks, just like most of our strategies, really simple. Even if you're brand new, I'll take you through all the training. You can become a pro. You need a regular brokerage account, internet connection, and a few minutes to set up the trade. Fridays, like today, before the end of the week. Plus, you don't need a big account. The average entry cost is about $2 per contract. Okay, so this is start small and scale up at any time. And of course, you get customer support live. So if you have questions, hey, am I doing this right? All that kind of stuff, free pass to our daily customer support live sessions. Guys, they're live 3 hours a day waiting for you to try to help you out and make sure you have all your T's crossed, your I's dotted, and you know exactly what you're doing.
I'm really starting to fall in love with these weekend options. And I took that one the other weekend. It was a nice, beautiful winter. And just when I think it can't get possibly any better, you pull a number like this one. And with the types of payouts you've shown us, I think 3 to 4 trades per month is plenty, especially when we can place them with the confidence, knowing that you've gone through those extra filters to really get that super high win rate. And when you consider that the data shows winning more than 9 out of every 10 weekends, that's really, really something. Let's just rehash some of the recent months again, right? 3 trades in November, that's $2,320 in weekend income, 3 for 3. 3 trades in December, 3,743 in weekend income. Again, we're not pulling out the losers here. There were no losers to show you. 4 trades in January, $5,600 in weekend income. 3 trades in February, $5,000 in weekend income. And then I don't have the March examples here, but I know you're still no losers in 2025, winners all the way through. Now, who want a shot at that? So, Nate, here's a question. Are you sure you want to limit this to today only for no new members? I know that this has been offline for weeks now. We are bringing it back here in the opening playbook for the first time ever. And then you're already closing it down again tonight. Are you sure you want to do that? A lot of folks won't see this until tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm 100% sure. Actually, I wasn't even going to open it up today. So, yes, I'm very sure. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're doing this way too cheap. We said I swore I was not going to do it way too cheap again, and here we are one more time because you guys all pressured me. So here's what we want to do. We want to get everyone onboarded today. We want to do a special thing for opening playbook to give them an opportunity to get in, get them rolling, hopefully get a winner, today. Hopefully a couple winners over the next few weekends and a whole bunch of, good trades in the next couple of months. We already had a good start here with Carrie, Jeff, Aaron, Karen. I love the good start that we're on so far. And so once we get a couple more of these from people right here in the room and I get your feedback, your testimonials, your success stories, then I'm going to reopen membership here for a much, much higher price. And I really mean that. I'm not talking about hundreds of dollars. If performance holds up, I think we'll end up charging several $1,000s for access to weekend options. But for today, opening playbook and maybe a couple extra people if they're able to sneak in before midnight, you're going to get a massively discounted price. And by the way, just before you jump in here, one quick thing. There is a requirement here. I don't think we put a slide on it, but if you do join for the massively discounted price, I am expecting you to provide feedback. That's kind of part of the idea here. I know all my opening playbook members are great at providing feedback, so I don't really probably have to say that, but that's kind of the idea here. Do one more special opportunity, literally open it up for like 10 hours, get a few more people in because we should be starting to get some more weekend opportunities with the VIX settling down, calmness and stability. And I just want to make sure that you guys are willing to provide feedback if you get the special discount. Just wanted to throw that out there before you jump back in here, Graham.
Yeah, Nate. Well, you already have a ton of awesome feedback, but I think we'd all love to see more and more stories, especially from you guys in here right now. So again, I think we can all agree, you showed us quite a few weekends, multiple months in a row, that we've been on this hot streak since November. No losers since November. What are you going to charge? 5 grand for this?
All right, so here's the plan. Not going to pay $5,000, obviously, or even 3,500 for weekend options, or even the 24.95 that we listed during the initial special release on the Founders Club was still 24.95. But if you're here right now, you get an incredible, and I do mean incredible offer to join today and start with our very first opportunity if you sneak in the next 10 hours. So let me break it down, or earlier if we close it down right after opening playbook. So after analyzing nearly 100 trade opportunities across all different conditions, like Graham said, not a loser since November. We've been blown away by the data. If you stack up all of these examples, okay, so a little over 70 trades now, anyone starting out with even a tiny 1K after just 2 years, reinvesting 33%, so being aggressive, compounding your results, you end up with $70,000 over the first 70 weekend opportunities. So let me just say that again because it's a pretty crazy number. Starting with a $1,000 account. Yes, being very aggressive, 33% in each trade since 2023, you turn 1K into 70 grand on just weekend trades alone. Nothing else, not investing. Really kind of crazy compounding numbers there on these weekend opportunities. So imagine if you started out with twice that much. Or if you started out with 5K and compounded, the final number would actually be crazy. Now, if you boil it all down, based on everything we've looked at, the average payout here is about 1344 per weekend when it all worked out. That's based on the standard 5K stake. So I had an idea based on that 1344. What if we started discounting it from there dramatically? Instead of doing the early access of 24.95 per year, we set the price at 1344, which is just the average weekend from our winning trades. That way, new members will have a legitimate shot at covering the membership on the very first trade, the one upcoming literally in a couple hours. Okay, so that was the first bonus. But then, just to make it a complete no brainer and take it over the top, the double bonus here. I know 1344 is a heck of a deal, but just to sweeten the pot, I want to give you early access, an even crazier deal. I mean, 1344 already is early access, but to make it a little crazier, I'm going to knock off $500 extra for people who want to get in while this is open for just a couple hours today and get their hands on our very next opportunity, which, like I said, should be triggering here in a couple hours. So $844. Yes, that's the real price. It's only going to be available for a couple hours. It'll be shut down, and from there, I really, really am raising it. I promise I would raise it. I promise I'd never even do the 844 again. Graham convinced me to do it on opening playbook for all of our loyal folks here. But this is it. This is really it, guys. I swear.
Because I love to bring the opening playbook, folks, the deals. And now, Nate, for me, this deal is a no-brainer. I mean, 844 for a full year access to weekend options, which again hasn't had a single loser since November. Pull up the S&P since November, guys. Tell me what strategy would not have a single loser since then? Almost none, but weekend options has made it unscathed. So everyone should jump in on this ASAP. But guys, like Nate said, limited time special. This is only available for today. Again, only available for today, and then the team is shutting the offer down. Now, when Nate does open it up down the road, you can bet your bottom dollar it's not going to be 800 bucks, not going to be 900 bucks. It'll probably be what, 1,000, 300, 1,400, 1,500, maybe $2,000. So if you're ready to be one of the first in the world to jump in on the weekend options, leveraging this phenomenon that I don't think anyone else in the world is tapping into, unlocking 3 to 4 weekend opportunities every month over the course of your first year, targeting 900 bucks, 1,000 bucks, even $1,800 by Monday morning, then you're going to have to take one of these limited spots. First come, first serve. Again, this special deal will be shut down today and taken offline again. So let's post that link here in the chat, guys. Click that link in the chat. John will just posted it for you guys. The link is prosperitypub.com/WKO, or give us a call 904-706-3537. Again, guys, this opening playbook special expires today. It has been offline ever since the initial launch a few weeks back. Took it offline after a couple days, got the new members rolling. And Nate didn't even want to bring it back just yet. We were going to wait till May, but I twisted his arm. I looked at the masterclass yesterday. I said, Nate, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a trade tomorrow. And I said, let's open it up for the opening playbook members and give them one more shot to get in for today's new trade for that early access discount with the extra $500 off bringing that price to 844 for your full year, guys. It's a no-brainer deal, but it is only good for today. So, guys, don't miss out on the next trade. Again, we've already heard a lot of great stories. Nate wants to hear more from you once you join and get in. Joseph, we give it to the Pacific time so that way the people in California can have a chance to get in as well. Now, this is a very limited deal. We will be shutting down the 844 offer once spots are full. Now, once you take today's deal, the next page is where you can upgrade to lifetime access. I know we have a lot of questions here about how do we get lifetime to this program. Well, you can actually upgrade to lifetime for less than it costs to join for 1 year.
Yeah,
And then
this we were supposed to take the lifetime off originally. We forgot to do that completely. So yeah, I guess it's still on there for you guys.
yes, as a lifetime member, you'll get access to another very special bonus as well, something not available anywhere else in the world, and that's the double dip weekend options. Now, this bonus content for the lifetime members will walk you through another weekend trade that you can take on top of your current position. Special type of trade that's shown us the power to earn 2 to 3 times as much as we currently do with weekend options. Now, that one's a more advanced play, but as you'll see in the special report, when you add it in, it can really max out the gains. Now, that bonus is only available to the folks who upgrade to lifetime after taking one of the spots. And guys, it's 844 for a full year, and it's even less to upgrade to lifetime. It's a no-brainer. I would bet you're my bottom dollar that when this comes back after we're shutting it down for another couple of weeks, we are going to bring it back. But I'm going to guess that that 1 year price is going to be more than it currently costs to join for lifetime. So guys, click that link in the chat to get started now, or give us a call at 904-706-3537.
All right, folks, and I can't wait to get all those people who are in here in opening playbook rolling. Go through the masterclass today and get your first trade literally in a couple hours. And also, just to show you how hands-free this can be, because once you go through the masterclass, I think one of the big takeaways is how simple it is. You know, it's repeatable, it's consistent. You set up the trade, you get those automatic exits where you set up the trade, get filled, put a target on, and then you do nothing. Close your computer, walk away. You know, hopefully enjoy your weekend. Maybe play some golf. It's finally nice outside here in Pittsburgh. We can do that kind of thing. And I'm sure that masterclass is worth whatever we want to charge, $395, $497. But of course, you guys get that for free, included, all baked in there that you can take advantage of.
Well, Nate, you always go above and beyond for your students, regardless if they've been working with you for years or if they just started. Deb said, Nate, my meta trade closed yesterday for $2,600. Nice job, Deb. That would have been enough to buy the subscription for 3 times over. Awesome job. Roger S. up $15,000. Don wrote in, I will be signing up for lifetime today. So far, up $3,777 in 4 weeks. And Ron brings up a great point here. I know we had some questions in the chat. If they already joined a few weeks back, but they didn't get that lifetime upgrade, guys, give us a call, 904-706-3537. Let them know you're already a weekend options member and you would like to then upgrade to lifetime. I know we had some questions in the chat. People love it so much. They want to get that upgrade. If you are currently a member, give us a call. They will honor that same price today only, though. Now, Betty told us 4 for 4 on the wins. Option is very easy to place, cheap for small accounts. Loves it because it's set it and forget it. She works full time, so it works for her. Jeff says, thank you. I am up $17,000 in the last 6 months. Nice job, Jeff. Question is, will you be next? New trade is coming today, and only folks who take action today will be allowed to join the Weekend Options Program special that we are running right now. So these spots are going to fill fast. And guys, new trade is posted today. So Nate, what will the next trade look like?
Well, obviously, only the new folks are going to know. We'll have it here in a couple of hours. And like I said, what I'm super excited about is that we've been really biding our time. We've been filtering out trades that we need to keep that win rate pristine. And I think the market's starting to stabilize. I think we could really get one of those runs like we showed where you get 4, 5, 6 weekends in a row that trigger and really take advantage. And so obviously I can't promise that, no future gains, but the consistency across the board here has been pretty insanely good. For example, we showed this one from October 11th. This is a great one. You get into the trade. Look what the next couple days, or I guess I should say hours on this candle look like. So you set that up. You get that little gap up. That looks like a big move, but this is like an hourly chart. It's only about a 0.4% move there on October 11th. Immediately hits your target. You're out like 1 hour in on Monday with a $1,026 win there. And that's really what I like to see. Another one from July 26th. This is actually even a better example here because look how ugly this chart is. But we're not worried about the chart. We're not worried about a candlestick. We're worried about the mechanical setup that follows certain rules. So set the trade up. You get that triple cushion. Here, we got this little gap up. But look, this is just a choppy market. Ended up falling right back down. Didn't matter to us. We were out of the trade within the first couple hours. already locked in for over $1,000 on a standard 5K stake. And for those of you asking, no, you don't need to trade 5K. You could trade $200, $400, $800, whatever you're comfortable with. And that cushion, that trade function is going to be exactly the same. And I could give you literally 50 to 60 examples. Actually, I guess I could give you, what, 69 examples. Same thing. Set up the trade, triple cushion. Look at this one. Really ugly gap down. People probably be panicking when Monday gap down, but we had so much opportunity here. Look how fat this cushion is. It just jumped back in, nailed the trade. Didn't matter that it finished lower by the end of the day. I would imagine most people trading the weekend lost money, but we won, and that's what we're trying to do. Doesn't mean we're going to win every single time, but you can see how fat that cushion is and how the odds are so stacked in your favor because of the different conditions. I always say this, guys. If you want to win a lot of trades, create a lot of scenarios where you get a win. And this has so many scenarios where you get a win. Friday sprinting up, win. Monday gapped up, win. Monday flat, win. Monday gaps down, but then it moves up later in the day, win. There's so many different scenarios where you can get into a winning trade. Doesn't mean we win every time, but you're just stacking the different opportunities to give yourself a chance for a winning trade. And that's really what my specialty is. It's not about predicting big moves in the stock market or anything like that. Yes, I have some predictive analysis that I like to use, but at the end of the day, what I really focus on is trying to set up mathematical scenarios where you get the most different ways of winning a trade. Just like that AVGO trade that so many of you said you made money on this week. Wasn't a perfect trade. Chart looks pretty ugly, to be honest. Yet smashed our target for a nice winner. It's why we're 4 for 4 this week on overnight options. Market's not perfect. You had a lot of craziness, but we're hitting those targets. We're hitting winning trades because the scenarios we try to stack up. And weekend options, because of that cushion, is probably the most advantageous. Gives you the most different scenarios to win. So we've been doing a really good job of filtering out the weekends, which for some people is boring, but for me, I'm happy to not take any losers. And I think we're just getting into a situation now. Hopefully, we're going to hit our stride and have a lot more weekend opportunities to take advantage of. And, we'll kind of take those every time we get and stack up as quickly as we can. Oh, one more thing. One more thing. Sorry, I'm talking a lot here. So let's say that you guys get in and we have another month where the market's really chaotic and we're filtering more trades because it could happen. In April, we're filtering trades. Why? Because the VIX was at 50 and markets are crazy. We don't have the risk reward. And so we're being patient. So let's say that you guys join, and from now till June, we only get 2 trades, right? Hopefully we go 2 for 2, but we only get 2 trades. I'll extend your membership for another month if we don't get enough trades. Just call in our team. I'll extend it because the point here is not to give you too few trades for what you're paying for. The point is to give you the maximum win rate and to just filter out the trades that we need to filter out to keep us on the best position. So if you get into a situation, you say, hey, I've been in for 2 months. I only have 2 trades because the markets continue to be crazy. No worries. Call the team. I'll happily extend your membership for 2 free months just to make sure you get full value in the membership. The idea here is not to sneak away any value from you. It's to put you in position and only trigger the trades that we have the absolute most confidence in. And so just take that, my word. If we don't get enough trades, I'll happily extend your membership just to make sure you're in good position on the value of this membership.
Yeah, and guys, we have some questions here in the chat. We're going to answer all of your questions here in just a moment, so hang tight. It'll be about 5 minutes from now. I'm going to do some frequently asked questions first, but we had some questions. When was the last loser? Last loser guy was October 4th, 2024. So that is 6 months ago was the last time this strategy took a loser. And in March, it was 4 for 4 over the weekends actually as well. Now again, Nate does have those VIX filters and the RSI filters and other things that he's going to walk you through step by step in the masterclass that avoids some of those not so fun weekends. It took that win rate, right? Remember, blindly trading over the weekend was like 55% win rate. Taking Nate's first options approach took it to about 76% win rate, and then adding in these filters took it to 94% win rate. So if you guys want to trade with a 76% win rate, go ahead. He'll teach you how to. But what he's doing here is he's filtering out for you the highest probability weekends in advance, and it looks like we should have one today. So guys, click that link in the chat to get started. Get in on that first trade today. We've got a lot of new members joining right now, and I know we've got a lot of questions in the chat. So Nate, let's just cover some of these frequently asked questions first, and then we're going to jump into the chat. How much money is needed?
So, like I said, average trade here about $2 a contract, meaning $200 if you're new to options. That's what one contract costs. So, very affordable. You can start out small, trade one contract at a time, then go to 2, then go to 3, then go to 4. It's really scalable in that way.
All right, cool. Is this day trading here?
No, we're entering before Friday, aiming to exit on Monday. So you're not going to have any day trading rolls. I mean, sometimes it works so fast that you get closed out on Friday, but that's going to be rare. It's only going to be one day trade every few months, right? So it's not going to actually affect you with any of the day trading guidelines.
Right. And that's actually one of the best feelings ever, too.
It is.
Is every trade going to be winner?
Well, we're going for it, but obviously, no. Every trade is not going to be a winner. It's great to have win streaks, but, not going to win 100% of the time. I can't guarantee this weekend's going to be a winner. I can't guarantee next weekend's going to be a winner, but I just believe that the data and the mathematical edge is so strong that I'm very confident swinging the bat every single time it triggers. If you stack them all up, I mean, the numbers, we showed you these, they're pretty darn good. So, like, obviously, whether I get a winner this weekend or a loser, I know we want winners and I hope we get a winner, but it doesn't really matter to me in the grand scheme whether I get a winner or a loser on any given weekend. I'm going to follow the system, swing the bat every time it triggers because the numbers are so strong.
Definitely. Now, should I be concerned about a greater bear market here?
Well, I think both you and I are fairly optimistic, but it doesn't really matter because we're not holding positions during the week. We're not trying to plan any medium long term trends. We're really just looking for that weekend volatility and that extra premium. And probably even if the market does get ugly, I highly, highly doubt it's going to look worse than it does so far in 2025, where we've been really strong.
Yeah, I love it. Can I trade this in a regular brokerage account?
Yeah, I mean, it's risk defined, retirement account friendly. Obviously, you got to make sure you have the right options permissions with your broker. Just go through any steps that they require you to. But of course, risk defined trades, anyone, any account, any broker can do that.
Awesome. Well, what's the next weekend options trade? And Timothy's here in the chat asking, is there going to be a trade today?
Yeah, we're gonna have a trade today, almost certainly. Now, we're watching the filters very closely, and we do have about a little over 3 hours before we'll have a known confirmation or not. But I told Graham there's a couple of things I really like, so I'll do a bonus trade today, whether we get the official trigger or not. So either way, we're gonna have a trade today. Just a matter of whether we'll get the official trigger or I'll slice and dice up a little bonus trade because there's a couple of things I like out there, even if we don't get the official trigger.
Awesome. And then how do we close the trade?
Automated exit, set it up as soon as you get filled. Don't have to worry about anything. Let it do the work for you.
Love it. Love it. Is there any sort of guarantee here?
Yeah, I mean, you can get a 14-day guarantee. I don't really recommend people join planning on getting a refund, obviously. So I want people to join who like the idea, like the strategy, and believe in it. But if you get in, it's too complicated, or you don't like how it works, or the master class isn't valuable, no worries. You can get a refund and just let me know and let the team know, and we'll give you a refund.
Yeah, but remember, guys, if you refund and then we come back in 4 weeks and we've
That's
hit,
true.
oh, you have FOMO, well, you're not going to get back in for this price.
Yep.
Do I have to be glued to the computer to take these entries and exits?
No, extremely easy to manage. Actually, one of the best things about this is you can basically set your watch to this. Every week, every Friday, right around 3:30 p.m., you're going to get your opportunity, or I'm going to say, hey, we're filtering this one out, but you're going to know you're not going to have to wait around all day. And then the exits are automatic. So literally, probably have 5 minutes a week in total time to manage this service.
Awesome. Is it going to cost 2,500 bucks a year like we've charged in the past to join?
Amazingly, no. Here we are again. I swear I would not do this, but it is 8:44 right now for today only. I think there's a timer on that order form that lets you know when we're counting down to, and then that's it. And this time I'm serious. I'm not letting. And by the way, we were supposed to open up for 8:44, but at least not have the VIP option today, just to make it a little more reasonable. And instead, we still have the VIP option. So obviously, we're going to honor it. You guys can get VIP as well while it's open.
Well, people will be grateful for that. So, guys, click that link in the chat to get started. Remember, new trade is going today. It hasn't had a loser since October. It's on a 6 month hot streak. You're not going to want to miss today's newest trade alert going over the weekend. Joe, yes, it is an extra $795 for never ending lifetime. That's nuts, Nate. That is
It is
a
ridiculous. The fact that we did 844 and then somehow went lower on the VIP is still a mysterious thing to me that we did that. But hey, I love my lifetime members. I love the folks who say, "Yep, I'm all in with you, Nate. Let's go for this. We're in it for the long term." And so I try to do extra stuff for them. There's an extra report in there for you guys. We try to do some extra classes and things like that. So by all means, take full advantage. Hope you guys enjoy it. And at the end of the day, if you think it's too complicated, it doesn't work, you can get a refund. I just, would love for folks who are joining to be, more of the mindset of let's make this work. I like the strategy. I like what we're doing. And I'd love for you guys to give it a chance if that's you.
awesome. Hank says just join Nate's HQ. You'll love it. That's your all access diamond membership. Hank, you're right. They will love it. Uh, Anthony, if you have questions about that, give us a call, 904-706-3537. They can help walk you through that payment. Um, Tom, I'm in. Awesome, Tom. Yes, there is a lifetime option on the next page. Tom here is asking, will you be notified as text as by text as well?
Yep, you'll get a text notification, you'll get a Telegram notification every time there's an opportunity. And, sometimes it'll just be saying, hey, we're passing today, but most times it's going to be a new fresh alert targeting right around, 1,000 to 1,200 bucks based on the 5K. So think about it. If you trade 1,000 bucks, you'll be targeting, 220 or 240 or 250 over the weekend. The cool thing is, which we didn't really spend a lot of time talking about this, Graham, but sometimes you get a little extra honey in the pot because you set your target for maybe 20%, let's say, but the weekend actually gaps up and you end up getting filled for 30% or 35%. You get a little extra bonus cash that you weren't even planning to target. So that's one of the cool things that can happen with the strategy as well.
You gotta love that. Let's see. When you say market craziness calms down, do you mean that this strategy works better when market is more predictable or less volatility?
Yeah. So basically, one of the filters that we're going to keep an eye on is volatility. And I explain this in major detail in the masterclass. But what happens is the market makers are already predicting extra volatility over the weekend. That's our advantage. But if the market gets up to a certain level of volatility, now it's taking away our advantage because it actually is as volatile as the market makers are pricing it in. And that kind of scrapes away your advantage. So, what you want is you want the market makers to predict lots of volatility over the weekend like they always do, while at the same time having the markets in reality not be as volatile. So market makers are predicting more volatility, but the market is actually less volatile. That gap is our advantage where we get that big cushion. When the market is actually that volatile, it takes away some of our advantage. And so we avoid those weekends where we're actually at those extreme levels of volatility.
Awesome. We're getting some questions. When is the masterclass? Guys, Nate has already recorded that for you. So it's ready for you in the members portal. You can actually watch it right now before the weekend trade even gets posted. As long as you join right now, you'll have enough time to get into that masterclass, watch it, check it out, and then Nate will be posting that trade for you. Now, Kimberly's asking, when is the weekend trade typically posted?
Right between 3 and 4 p.m. every Friday. Okay. So, again, you don't have to wait around all day. It's going to hit your inbox right around 3 to 3:30 and get it in before the weekend starts. Now, like I said, we're trading assets that trade till 4:15. So you have 45 minutes. If you get it at 3:30, plenty of time to get in, get filled, make sure you're all set up, set your automated exit, all that good stuff. You know when it's coming, so you should have plenty of time to get in each time there's an opportunity. And I mean, like I said, we're not going to force trades. So I think someone asked, is there a minimum amount of trades guaranteed? No, because I'm not going to force any trades just for the sake of getting a trade. I wanted to make sure that it's a high quality trade. But if we go a while without getting a trade, I'll just extend your membership for you, so you're not feeling like you're missing out on any value.
Awesome. Now, Marvin has a great question here. He says, will it renew at this price or will it go up? Well, that's a great question, Marvin. One, we don't do auto renews. So once you pay today, if you want to get an extra year later, you'd have to call in and then re-up, which probably will be a little bit more. But Marvin, one of the cool things is if you take that full year access on the next page, you can actually upgrade to a lifetime, and it would be less than buying a second year additional. It's only $7.95 additional, and then you never have to pay again. That's what I would recommend while the price is this low. Just go ahead and grab that lifetime. You don't have to worry about renewing for $800 in the future, $1,000, $2,000. No, it's just $7.95 today, and you're set for life. And you can even pass that on if you want to as well. Oh, Marvin did do the lifetime. There you go, Marvin. So you don't even have to worry about the renewal price. Great, great. Um, what if they don't catch a trade till 4 p.m., Nate?
Well, you
What?
actually still have the bonus 15 minutes there to sneak into the trade. That's one of the nice things about trading those indexes that we trade is that you still have bonus 15 minutes to get filled on the trade.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Joseph is asking, and I think this is a good question. Is there a minimum trades per year with this program?
No, we're not going to force any trades if they don't trigger. But like I said, if we don't get a lot of trades, I'll just extend your membership to make it, make sure you're getting enough value for it. So I would love to say, hey, we'll definitely have at least 40 trades in the next 52 weekends. I can't predict it. We're going to follow, very strictly what the opportunities are, but you might get some bonus trades along the way too, because there's some other things I look at that make sense for weekend trades. Maybe not an official weekend trade because of our core filters, but something that I like that you could take a little higher risk shot at. So we'll do some of those as well.
Yes. This is not the daily overnight option. No, this is weekend, guys. Remember, it took a whole new approach, blank slate. had to go start from scratch here. So this is a different, little bit different style than what you see in overnight options, but it's specifically designed to pay with a high win rate over the weekend. Which brokerage do you like? Rosalind is asking. I use Thinkorswim, which is Charles Schwab. We can't recommend brokerages, but that's what I use. I've also used E-Trade and Robinhood. Nate, I don't know if you have any other brokerages of preference.
I mean, I also use Schwab because of Thinkorswim to have the tools, but I know that a lot of my members tell me that Tasty Trade is really easy to work with and easy to get set up and get the level of permissions that you want. So I've used them in the past and think they're fine, but I know that a lot of my members say that they're pretty easy to deal with. So maybe that's one to consider. We have people all over. I mean, we have some Canadian people using Interactive Brokers. We have Robinhood folks. I mean, across the board.
Awesome. Well, let's see, guys. Go ahead and post your questions in the chat. I think I got through most of them. If I missed your question, please post it again. I want to make sure your question is answered. Um, let's see. Clifton says, good program. Very happy with joining. Thank you, Clifton.
Thank you, Clifton. Appreciate it. And I didn't get to shout out everyone who joined. I mean, I know Mark, Janet, Joe, Marvin, Scott, Donna, Eco, James, Noah, Priscilla, Robert, Lewis. Sorry, I'm trying to find Robert in here again. Shabir, Pat, David, Thomas, David again there, Joe. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to find all these. But Mary, Laura, all the folks, I didn't get to shout out everyone, so I try to welcome everyone. Susan, Sean, Grace, thank you all. Thank you all for jumping in. Cynthia, Peter, Randy, Eric, thank you all. Really thankful to have you in here. Hope that we can, do well together in this program. It's one of the ones I'm super excited about just because, like I said, I really think the market is starting to stabilize. I think that's an opportunity for us to take these opportunities that kind of most people are sitting on the sidelines, not looking for. And I think that we have an opportunity to really capitalize while everyone else is asleep at the wheel, so to speak. And so, by all means, I'm hoping that we can do that.
Awesome. We are getting some questions. People haven't gotten their login information yet. I'm sure we had over 450 people here today. I'm sure a lot of people are joining right now. Sometimes that can slow our systems down, but that will be coming to you here in the next few minutes. And if not, if it's been 15, 20 minutes, guys, just give us a call. They'll be happy to walk you through it and make sure that you're all squared away.
Yeah, someone asked a question about holding multiple trades. No, I mean, one of the beauties of this is that you'll never have multiple trades open at once. So that's one of the things that lets you, trade with a small account if you want to have a lot more control. You're taking a trade Friday, it's always going to be over by Monday. And then you have the next opportunity Friday again. So you're never going to be like stacking multiple trades, having to manage which trades open, which trades closed, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're really straightforward and easy to manage, and you'll only ever have one trade open at a time.
Yep. Uh, Jay, these are debits like we talked about today.
Yeah, if guys, there is a 14-day refund policy here. If you guys want to join, make sure the strategy makes sense. Take a couple trades with me and decide that it's not worth it. No problem. I mean, you can do that. Just give it, a couple weeks to go through the training and all that, and then you can make a decision. Obviously, I'm not going to hold anyone captive in a program who's not excited about being in it.
Awesome. Multiple legs or futures accounts required. Sean, it's just a basic debit. So just two calls, like we did today with the big portfolio, just like that. But it's just specifically targeting weekend income. So I believe, don't let me misspeak, but Monday expiration,
Yep.
hit or miss over the weekend, and 94% of the time it's hit. AJ, I already have the weekend options. Can I still get lifetime? AJ, give us a call, 904-706-3537. Let them know that you were one of the early access members. They'll look up your account, they'll verify it, and then they will honor that lifetime price. So give us a call. And that's the only way I think you can get lifetime. Actually, AJ, I think they put in the members portal just the other day. AJ, if you go into your one-click trading, I just saw this because when I was going to the masterclass, this is pretty cool. So here we
Oh,
can
there you go.
come here,
Nice.
right here, guys. If you are currently a member and you didn't get lifetime, we had them put this up. So you can guys then go add on lifetime. It'll show you that same price here. So you can add it for an extra $7.95 if you guys did not upgrade to lifetime your first go around. So that is here. It won't be up forever here in the members portal, but it is up right now for the early access members. If you took the 1 year deal, not lifetime, click that to get locked in. All righty. Well, guys, we do have to wrap up today's session. I've got to send out some trade alerts. Nate, I don't know if you want to hang on or not, but it looks like we've answered most of the questions, and I really appreciate you guys staying on today, getting to see all the bonuses. Hopefully, you guys loved the build your own portfolio that we did earlier on. Um, if not, well, sorry. Um,
If
but I hope you guys loved it, and thank you guys for being here again. Monday through Friday, we are live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern, to give you guys content and materials just like this, trainings, all sorts of stuff. So I hope to see you guys Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Again, thank you for being on today. And that is it for me. I got to get some trade alerts going. I got
yeah,
lunch
I
with
gotta
the.
eat some lunch, man. This has been on us 2 hours, 15 minutes, but I'll hang on for 2 more minutes. If you guys have any final questions, I'll hang on for 2 more minutes. Other than that, I just hope you jump in, hit that link, fill it out. $844, guys. I mean, I really can't make it more of a no-brainer than that for you. I hope everyone takes advantage of it. But if you have any final questions, I'll hang tight here for just 2 more minutes. Hope that the class was super valuable today. Hope the spreadsheet was cool and that you enjoyed that. Hope that you join weekend options. Hope that we see you on Monday. Lots of hoping, lots of fun. Looking forward, hopefully, also to another good weekend. Market's really, building. Mags are ripping today on Tesla, up 8%. So if you guys jumped on the Tesla round table trade, that covered call trade, we're going to hit that one with a max winner of about 17% in 2 days on Tesla. So that was pretty cool as well. So it's been a good week. I mean, we had the AVGO trade hit, 4 for 4 on overnight options. The Tesla earnings trade hit. Did lose an earnings trade on T-Mobile, unfortunately. But overall, feeling pretty darn good about how this market is starting to stabilize and all the opportunities that we have. Okay, John's waiting on a call. Got that. The opening playbook is live 10 a.m. every day, guys. Every day the market's open, we're live at 10 a.m. To do live trading analysis. I think next week I'm going to do a premium collection training on one of the days because I know some people have been asking about that. But yeah, we're trying to pack it for you full of good stuff, and we hope that it's valuable. Steven, if you call into that number on the screen, they should give you whatever options they have. I'm not 100% sure how they normally structure it. If it's something that is already super discounted, they might not have an option for that, but you can give them a call and see what they will do. All right, folks. Well, I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you're with me on our next weekend opportunity. But either way, hope you enjoy it. Get some rest, get some good weather. And I will look forward to seeing you on Monday or maybe earlier on our weekend trade update. I won't see you, but I'll send you a trade update anyway.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe what you're not to do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads that lead you there